Hey, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you're here. Let's see if you're here. All right, had to make sure that we're on live. We're here right now. Welcome back to Corbellic Studio. I'm Corbellic. I appreciate you being here. We're here for the live stream where we're going to be doing some painting again. We're going to be going through um let's see how many that we're going to be going through. We're going to be going through like I don't know, 12, 15, 20, whatever we go through, we're going to be having a good time. We're going to be just pumping out some artwork. I got my paint ready. I have my references ready. So it's more streamlined. There's no technical difficulties. Like I said, we're going to be getting better with each of the new episodes that we do. And it's just like anything else in life that you're going to be doing. Just go through the motion. Just always start off. The hardest part is always starting off. Just go fast. When you go fast and when you work with speed, then that's how you're going to perfect everything. If you really want to get perfect in your craft, if you want to get perfect in your business, or if there's anything that you're working on, we always talk about the speed. The speed is everything. That's, I mean, look, if you spend any money on any like big coachings, or if you spend $10,000, $20,000 on these calls, and the main thing that they're going to tell you is nobody knows what they're doing. Just work fast, and then through the fast, you'll end up getting better. You'll end up perfecting your business, your craft. So the reason that I'm bringing that up right now, that's going to be one of the subjects that we're going to be talking about today, is talking about how to perfect your craft, how to work fast, and that some people are under the illusion that you still need to work like it's 2010, like it's 2016, and that you need to work slow in order for it to be art, in order for it to be to creative, in order for you to be an artist, you need to either be broke or you need to do the old ways of selling art. But what do we always say, or what's the old saying, is that what's the definition of insanity? The definition of insanity is to keep trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So that's why everybody relates to me. That's why I'm always transparent. That's why you're here right now, in that you can feel the authenticity of what I'm saying. In that way, you relate to what I'm talking about, because we all been through the same journeys before of trying to do the same thing over and over, of how to sell art, how to make money in our business, how to you're supposed to do it this way with Instagram. You're supposed to have a newsletter. You're supposed to have an email. All of those things are so outdated. So I really want to hit home on this video, and I want to talk about how things are outdated, how you need to work with speed, because then working with speed, you're going to get better anyways. And there's nobody out there that can tell you, well, you work too fast. So that's not art. The customer, the buyer, doesn't care about what the end result is. They don't care about what you're, or they care about the end result. What I'm saying is that the customer, they don't care about the method and how long something took. There's so many people that put that in their mind. And the reason they put that in their mind is because they come from the traditional way of art school. So the reason that they say that as well is because they spent so much money. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, or they spent even thousands of dollars, whatever, just on their art school, and they basically, it's been broken out of them. It's kind of like the military, right? Like that's what we need to think of, like art school. The military, what do? The first thing that they have to do when you go to the boot camp, they have to break your mind. They have to break it out of you first, of the ways of how you're traditionally thinking. But what we're doing is we're breaking out of that mindset of the art and how you need to sell it. So they go to the art class, and then it's like the military. The art class tells them you need to spend 20 hours on one painting, and then it's worth the quality. Then you can say you're being creative. That's not true at all. So we're going to be breaking down a lot of that stuff, because I got some stuff that I got to get off my chest. All right. I seen some stuff online that kind of rubbed me wrong a little bit, but not really, because I understand how other people could become skeptical, and they don't understand our business. They don't understand how we're saving lives out here. They don't know all the testimonies and all the people and everything, the whole business concept. All right. So I can't wait to get into it. Can't wait to do some paintings right now. You could paint along with me. That's the fun part too, is that we're painting together. I'm even seeing some of my members saying that they're painting faster than me now. So that's cool. Hey, that's awesome. If you're joining along, and then you're also painting at the same time, and then you're also painting projects faster than me, Hey, that is cool. I love hearing stories like that because what do they always say? Eventually, the student's going to outshine the teacher, right? So that's cool. I'm not one against that. So let's get into this right now. Let's see what we have here in the comments for this morning. Let's read here. Morning, everybody. Good morning. Right one. Love the process. Yeah, exactly. Love the process. So we're just about to get started right now. Let's do this. Good morning, everybody out there. Good morning. Glad to see everybody here. Yeah, we're going to get into this right now. I got my timer ready. My timer's at, oh, this one's kind of broken off. I got another timer too. I keep these things. I got like multiple of these things around the studio, the same one too. Like I got multiple of these things because they're so cheap. You can get two of these for $5 on Amazon. And I keep these things ready. So I got the 90-minute going, and then I'm also going to cook this one up too. I'll try today, like I'm getting better with the live stream. So today I will try to focus in on honing in on my 10 to 12 minutes per canvas. I'll try, but sometimes I get distracted because I'm also reading the comments. So maybe I'll read most of the comments after I do the painting, or I don't know. I'll try in between. I enjoy conversating with you and seeing what's going on out there or any kind of notes that you give me. So I'm glad to see that everybody is ready to go because I'm ready to go. I got all my brushes ready, and let's do this already. All right. Boom. All right, look. So for the first painting right here, we're just going to do a landscape, seascape, impressionism kind of painting. And let's see here. Yeah, I think it looks good. So this one is going to be like a seascape impressionism. People love these on eBay. They do really well. Yeah, they do really well. And it's not always the things that you like to paint or in that moment. It could just be things that what the market is going off of. I mean, when I first started painting, especially for eBay, I was never doing landscapes per se. I would be like, "Oh, that's boring. That's for who wants that type of art? That's for like funeral homes and hospitals." But then when I seen that the market was like that and people were buying it, I was like, "Oh, I understand now." All right. And you can just see how I'm layering this up. I'm not even going to do the background right now, where it's like normally we have some type of background color to soften it up or to use it as a gesso kind of thing for our acrylic. I'm just going to go straight into it. Sometimes I like to do it like that because it makes the paint a little bit more heavier. It's like it adds the color a little bit more depth on there, and it's a little bit deeper, and that's fine. That way I have no choice but to paint heavy on the canvas because the canvas is already kind of dry. So that way I have no choice but to layer the paint already on there. If you haven't already, please leave a like on this live stream. For everybody that's here, leave me the like. Let YouTube trigger the algorithm for me. That people are showing up, that people are here. It's just like anything else that we do. It's all about the numbers, right? All right. Look at that. Already got the background pretty much. Let me add a little bit more white to the middle. And then a little bit of dark blue for the sky. Yeah, just like that. And a little bit down there. All right, so now I'm going to add in some mountains. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's do the mountains. And with the mountains, I just sketch it out with the black. I'm just sketching it out. And then I'll probably brown it up a little bit, like a brownish red. Boom. All right. I just wanted to make sure that the comments were still here. Still up to date. All right, cool. Now I'm going back to the 1-inch brush so I can work on those mountains. I'm just about to throw in some brown on here. Look at this. The brown. Boom. Mountains. Impressions. I'm going to throw in a little bit of red on the mountains. Hey, Brenda. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're at in the country. All right, now we're going to go to the easy part, which is just our water. And there's no right or wrong when it comes to that, especially when we're doing like impressionism with the water. You can't mess it up. I'm just going to start with the dark layer, like a dark blue. The best thing that you could do before you close up your studio the night before is to pick out your references. Pick out your references for the next day and have them ready to go. And I'm telling you, I know it sounds so simple. A lot of times we go, "Oh, I'll just pick out my references either in the moment of painting or I'll pick it out tomorrow." And it's easy for us to say that, but I'm telling you, that's like most of the battle right there. Something that simple. Just pick out your references that you want to paint the next day and say to yourself there's no negotiations about it either. Like whatever it is, you're just going to paint it. Sometimes don't always try to go for the easy ones because it shows in your work as well that you're just trying to go for the easy ones that you've done before, or you're not challenging yourself. If you find it to be a challenge, that doesn't mean that you have to do things that's such in detail. Like if there's a painting or a reference that I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And there's parts of the painting that I might find to be challenging, or if there's a detail part in it, then I'll say to myself, I'm going to make that part as simple as I can. I'll do a stick figure. If there's a hand part, I'll do a stick figure of the hand. You know, I'll work that part. I'll work whatever part fast. I always try to think of ways to game it where I'm working faster. And that's okay. Don't always think to yourself, oh man, like if you see a certain reference, just commit to it. So one of the members yesterday, they wrote and they were like, hey, on the next stream, can you tell us what reference is next, or what reference that you're going to be working on the day before so we could paint with you, or whatever the reference is? And I was like, hell, I don't even know what the reference it is that I'm going to be using. I pick out certain references and I put it in the file for my work day, but I don't know what painting is next and I don't know, because whatever's next, I'm going to work it regardless. I'm just going to say to myself, it's next, so I have to do it. That way I don't get too caught up into what does the buyer want? What do I want? What is this? I don't know. I select certain references and I just work it. It's my job. Let's just work it and then get on to the next one. That way we're not, because then what happens is you may not, like I told you, the brain is always going to choose the easiest route. So the brain is always going to choose the easiest reference, or your brain is naturally going to go, ooh, I could do that. I could do that reference. That looks like a fun one. I could do that one. I'm going to do that one. And then all day you're doing references that only you want to do. But then after a while, it shows in your artwork. It really does. And you don't notice it. Yes, having the references is a game changer. Also having the wet palette ready. Exactly. Those are the two things right there. And also having your paintbrush ready. That way you have systems in place of, so you don't have to think about certain things. And it's the little things that add up. It is the little things that add up in your work. In my previous life, when I was in corporate America, we used to have all these business trainings, but business trainings about how to be efficient in your work and job. And I mean, these are great things, especially looking back on, because I apply them to my business now. And it's certain things like, you may not notice it, but psychologically, these things add up into the back of your mind. And we used to always say, I just never forget, we used to always say, or the trainer would always say, you want to make sure that your day has no friction, and that you have, you as soon as you start work the next day, it's like you could come out the gate like a wet pig. I never forget that. That's what he always used to say. You could come out the gate like a wet pig. And it's so true. So that way you don't have to try to get started on things, because all those things add up. It's like a job. It's just like if you want to exercise in the morning, or if you want to work out the night before, put out your gym clothes. Put out your gym clothes the night before. So that way you don't have friction the next day, even though it's something as simple as just gym clothes or working out, right? You don't want to have any friction whatsoever. You want to make everything simple and clear as mud. Because it's the small things that add up mentally. So for example, when we would have these work trainings in corporate America, one of the things that we talked about as well was clearing out your email address, and how to clear out your emails. Because you might think it's not a big deal, but it's like it adds up into your mind. Like, most people have a messy email inbox, and you don't even look at it no more, because it's like filled with spam. It's filled with things that's not important. So one of the things that they would say is that on your email address or in your email box, type in the top of the search bar, put in unsubscribe or subscribe. And what will happen, it will pull up all the emails or all the things that you can actually unsubscribe from, because they're mostly spam, or they're mostly things that's not important, and you can unsubscribe from it. And if it's really important, if it's actually important, then they'll send you another email about it. But it's to clear out your mind and to clear out your day, so that way you don't have all these tabs open in your mind. See, a lot of times we're not able to progress in our life or different things that we're doing, because we don't realize we have all these tabs open in our mind of things that we subconsciously we're not paying attention of, but subconsciously it's there. It's like feng shui, right? Like a clean room. That's why one of the in one of the lessons I talk about, I think it's the budgeting course. I talk about, make sure that your station is clean. Make sure that everything is ready to go, or have a clean station the night before, because it adds up into your mind. You might not think, oh, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. And I could tell so a lot by when completing the 14-day sales activity, and certain members, right? They'll show their station, and they're like, oh, I feel disorganized today, and My station is a mess, but they either feel better when they organize it or they don't feel good when it's unorganized. So it's like when everything is organized, you got your SKU numbers, you got everything organized in your thing, you feel better about your art, you feel better about the creative process. But when you got certain things in the back of your mind that you got to do, oh, I got to do shipping later on, I got to do, like, you want to have everything set up, have a system in place. All right, boom, there we go right there. That's not bad for the first one. I like it. It's cool. Boom. All right, look at this one. Ugh. Huh? Look at that. There we go, right there. That's our landscape or seascape, oceanside, seaside painting right there with the sunset horizon in the background, the mountains. Beautiful. It's layered. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's put that parchment paper on top of it and get on to the next one. I don't know what the next one's going to be. Oh, also today, if you could tell, that these are 12 by 16s I'm doing right now. So yesterday and the day before was 14 by 11s. Today is 12 by 16s. This is probably my favorite size to do. Yeah, in volume, this is my favorite size to do. My ultimate favorite size to do is the 16 by 20. My favorite size is the 16 by 20, but in volume, I love doing the 12 by 16s because it's the medium zone for me to do to have expressive paintings where I don't have to be too detailed and too small at times. Like, it gives me a range. Colors, we like colors. You know how we work. All right. Is there any subject matter you refuse to do? Religion, maybe? No, I do religion too. I like doing religion paintings. And eBay likes it too, or the customers like, here, let me, I swear, I think I need to zoom in on this a little bit better. I think I need to clean this up. Maybe this is better. Let me see here. Yeah, I think that's better. All right. This is our bear right here. Let's do the background first. So that way we could just build up a little bit of acrylic on the back so the canvas isn't too dry. Ooh. I didn't change my palette. I just added more paint to it today because it's still healthy. It's fine. I'm gonna add a little bit of purple. I only change it out when it's like gets either too funky, maybe like some mold is growing a little bit, or because dealing with these wet palettes like this with the seal, I don't know if you're painting enough to actually see, but sometimes you could get mold, light mold. It happens. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to kill you, but it can happen. One down looks awesome. Oh, thank you. Yep, one down. Mentioning, let me reset our clock. All right. I think that's good. That's fine. Let me dry this off a little bit. All right. Like I said, sometimes I'm always self-conscious about talking over this because I don't know what it sounds like or if it sounds bad. It's perfect. Ow. I burned myself right there a little bit. Woo. All right, that's fine. It's perfectly silent. All right, I'll keep that in mind so I can. I'll just keep that in mind so I can keep talking. Hey, Corey, can you remind us about the general theory on posting on Wednesday, Thursday versus other days? Today is Wednesday, so it came up in my mind. No, what I talk about is that it's important for us to post every day. It's just that I try to stay focused on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Maybe come in a little bit earlier, maybe leave a little bit later, do a little bit of overtime. Really stay focused on the paintings, the time that I have, and that way, when the 10-day duration hits, it really hits on. It lands on that Saturday and Sunday. So, because those are the biggest sales days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, those threes are the biggest sales day or auction days that we go for out of the week. Those are the money days. So that's why I say just focus on, I don't say just focus on those days. Like we show up every day, but it's to focus on what you're doing those days. And maybe if you can have some either a little bit of extra work or just really just more focus, even if you don't have extra work, just more mindful of you showing up that day, that it's important. That's all. And then when I talk about the overtime, I'm saying, like, if you do decide to come in on a Saturday and Sunday to work, that you can still do that and have it for a 7-day duration. So that way it's doubling up on the work that you did on that Saturday and Sunday. It's just a trick right there. Thank you. We barely hear the heat gun. I appreciate that. All right. Well, we're in the game now. So something was brought to my attention yesterday, and it was an art YouTuber who made a video about our program a little bit. And it's kind of like they were throwing rocks but hiding their hands, because it was about what we do. But then when there was people in there trying to explain how it worked for them and not to be so judgmental or whatever, then they try to act like it wasn't about us, kind of thing, which is weird. And I mean, not weird. I mean, I understand it, because when I first started off doing eBay, I was skeptical about it as well. But what I wouldn't do, though, which I find weird, is if I'm an artist, how I always say that art is subjective, but also how we sell artists is subjective, or how you go about it is subjective. And I would never say to anybody that what you create isn't art because you spent 10, 15 minutes or however long. And this YouTuber was saying that art is only art if you spend hours or days on it, because then that's being creative. And it's kind of like just throwing the word away of, like, creative. What does that even mean? Like, creative could be anything. So that's like, with that, I would never tell somebody that the person who sold the banana duct tape on the wall and he sold it for 5, 10, $15 million. I would never say to that person, well, you're not being creative and you're just you're a silly artist and it doesn't work that way, or something, without understanding the system or anything. And I just thought it was kind of left field for somebody who doesn't understand the business aspect, especially of auctions, of what we do. And Paul Newman used to say that a person without haters or enemies is a person without characters, because you never punch down, people always punch up. So, I mean, I'm flattered at the same point, but I also understand the skepticism, because it's like, why would people why are people buying eBay art? But then when I dug more into it, because I'm reading a little bit of the comments, right? Their mindset is like it's 2010, where they're telling people to do just have a newsletter and just have a newsletter and you can have people come to your art show or have an art fair, and then you could pass out your newsletter at an art fair. Now, the reason why people resonate with me a lot is because my message is more for people who you've done this before. We've done this for years, so we know what it looks like. I've done plenty of art fairs. You've done plenty of art fairs, or even paint and sip things, or even we've all gone through the days of selling art the traditional way. And it's just that those days are over with. I mean, do you really expect to go to an art fair in 2026 where you have to hopefully that you live in a city where they have a lot of art fairs, because then if they don't, what are you supposed to do throughout the rest of the year? Not sell art? But then if you do have an art fair, you have to travel to it, you have to pack up all your equipment. Then what they don't talk about with the art fairs, you have to actually buy that lot of land of whatever you're going to be at. Then you have to pay for a tent, you have to get the tables, you have to do all that. And then when you do that, you might sell $100, $200, but then you already paid $300 or $500 for that art fair land. And then you're like, oh, when people come there, you give them a newsletter. I mean, how many people do you think actually are going to, okay, they get a newsletter from you. You think people are going to call you up and they're going to hit you up? Hey, I remember seeing you. No, they don't. Those days are very far in between that somebody's going to hit you up. Now, the thing that this YouTuber doesn't know is that eBay already has a newsletter. So that's the thing that's crazy. Is like people wanting to just jump on quick and have something to say, but then when they were going into it or people were trying to explain things, she didn't even understand anything about how eBay works or how the system works or anything. It was just more so against, I don't understand how they could create 10 paintings a day and they're all crappy. How can you be judgmental and say that something is crappy art based off of the time of what the metrics is? How does a buyer know that, oh, you spent 10 hours doing a painting versus if you did, I mean, after a while, you spending time on art, there will be no difference. There's some artists out there and there's some individuals out there who can't produce the type of art that you can, even if they spend a whole day doing it. I always talk about the old saying of Picasso, where a lady asked him to do a painting and he spent 5 minutes on it. And he gave it back to her and he said, that's going to be $3,000 or $30,000. And she was astonished. She goes, but you only spent 5 minutes on it, because she's coming from it as a mindset of someone who doesn't really understand art. And he goes, yeah, but it took me years to understand how to do it in that time. So it's the same thing when it comes to us, where it's like, you're going to get to a point where you're so natural at doing this, you're going to know how to do it fast. You're going to know the techniques, and it doesn't have to have a time frame of what the art is going to be. That it just doesn't make sense. So somebody who runs a art channel, it was just really surprising to hear someone who's supposed to be about art had that mindset about art, because I would never tell another artist that your art's not art or whatever your direction is, because the time frame or the metrics or whatever. It's very judgmental. But I also understand it as well too, because it doesn't come from a standpoint of an artist. It comes from a standpoint of someone who's mad that the traditional way is done, and they're trying to hold on to the idea. But also there were some people who were under the impression as well too, where that Oh, it's about the course. It's about the course for Corbellic. That's why, or something like that. And you never seen a video of me on YouTube where I've ever said, hey, look at this painting. Like, I'll give $1,000 to anybody if you could find a video of me ever saying, hey, this is the painting that I've done. Go to my eBay account and buy from me. There's so many artists out there who make paintings online or even YouTube. And then they always want to point you in the direction of where to buy it from them because they always make it about them. You never hear anybody out there helping people and saying it's about you. And that's the direction that I wanted to go at because, like I said, God told me to help people and not make it about me. And you never hear me make it about me. There's so many artists out there where they're like, here's my YouTube channel. This is the thing that I paint and go to my thing. And they never talk about helping people. So I'm also about educating people, but also if you hear anybody say stuff like that, it's very simple how you could just be like, okay, but you know, where are their testimonies at from people that they've helped, that they made money? I have so many testimonies that come in daily from people who I've helped and that it's working for them and they've never sold art trying to do the traditional way because I've been there as well and I understand how it is. And I got tired of the days of trying to do it the traditional way, because that's why people resonate when I'm saying where we do it the traditional way, but it's just tiresome. You have to be, you have to get online. You have to, a newsletter. Who's going to hit you up on a newsletter in 2020, 2026? They're just going to reach out to you when you already have the buyers that's there on eBay. My largest contracts that I've ever received and my largest commissions have been from eBay. Remember what I always talk about for everybody that's here who knows me. We always talk about don't day trade the numbers. But people from the outside looking in, they don't know anything about that. See, they're so constantly focused on day trading our numbers. Well, they're selling this. Their numbers turn out to that. They don't know the big idea, the big picture on the algorithm where people come back and they buy the buy it now art at a higher price, or it all adds up at the end of the day. They don't understand anything about that. They're too busy day trading the numbers. Or one of the things that I heard that was a good saying is that some artists want to feed their ego, and some artists want to feed their ego and do it for the fame, and then some artists want to feed their family. And that's where I come from. And I always tell people, you know, if you haven't gone through the mud long enough, then it probably wouldn't make sense to you. And you're not at that point yet. Like if you still think in the back of your mind that you want to be a gallery artist one day and that you want to go for the fame and all that, I'm not one to tell you don't do that direction. I want to tell you, hey, go in that direction and I'll still be here to help you when you come back and when you've gone through enough of the fog. I've done enough art fairs. I've done enough galleries. I've done enough exhibitions. I've done enough of all of that stuff to know what it really looks like on the outside. And my most successful members are people who've done it as well, and they know what it looks like, and just tired of doing that where it's the old way of insanity. It's trying to do the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And it's disingenuous when people try to tell you to just do the same stuff from years ago, like it's 2016, or the world is different pre-2020, and people aren't buying like art like how they used to with that. Nobody wants to do it like newsletter. So you're just supposed to wait around and wait for someone to hit you up on a newsletter. Buyers are lazy. And if they feel like they have to either pay for groceries, food, or anything like that, or if they're going to hit you up on a newsletter so they can spend $5,000 with you, you're waiting for a magical unicorn to land on your lap. And that's not going to happen. By the time that you do sell that magical unicorn on your lap, you could have just been selling art in the first place. But your ego's so involved where it's like, no, art needs to be 10 hours long of creating one painting. And then you're creative. You're creative only then. Says who? It's just a weird thing for an artist to say something like that, and it's judgmental. Art could be whatever I want it. Art, that's why I paint the way that I do, because art could be whatever I want it to be, whatever I choose to paint, and however long I choose to work on it. Here, there's our bear right there. Isn't that great? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? There's our bear right there. Very colorful, very fun. You could do it too. And I think the old world, I knew it was going to get to that point too. The more that my voice is starting to resonate with real artists, or but what I'm also saying is that you don't even have to be an artist to do what we do, because we're all naturally creative. But what's happening, what I'm noticing, is the old gatekeepers are feeling threatened. The old gatekeepers who want you to be broke and want you to think of art needs to be the composition and the shadows and this, that, the other. And then remember why I always talk about, raising our frequency. Our frequency is we're not focused on punching down. It's remember, you're always going to have negative people or haters who are going to punch up because you're up here. When you're up here, you never punch down. I would never judge somebody on their artwork. But what happens is they're resonating that type of crowd as well. And you'll have certain people that I was seeing certain people in the comments that were going, yeah, their artwork is ugly. Why would anybody buy that? Now think about that. Like, we don't even have any type of people that's on that frequency in our community. None of the members are on that type of frequency. We're all up here in a positive frequency. We don't even talk like that or think like that because we wouldn't judge art. It's so subjective. Who even thinks like that? And it's the gatekeepers. I knew it was going to get like that, but let's see here. We can laugh all the way to the bank. That's so true. I'm happy I found your channel because I am one of those artists that spends months or years on one painting. Yeah, I used to be like that too. And it's just a way for us to pretend like we're busy, but we're not, just to make it feel like we're actually doing something. Let's see here. I think you're inspiring. I like the guidelines of keeping it moving and not getting attached to the painting. I find that good for me to keep it playful and enjoying the flow. Good practice for me. Yeah, you got to watch out for the gatekeepers. So the gatekeepers are now starting to come for us. But we got to keep the frequency high and at the same point, pray for them and be like, I understand. But I never I never make it about me where I say, you can't find any video. Hey, buy from Corbellic, buy my stuff, everybody. Think about this. If I was really in the mindset of where it was all about me and I'm hustling, don't you think it'd be easy for me to just like make a ton of YouTube videos, me painting, and say to the world, hey, everybody, go to this website, buy for this painting. It'd be real easy for me to do that if that was my hustle. But there's not. I got 300 painting videos, and I think I got like 500. I must have done like 500 paintings in just 3 months of me starting YouTube. And not one video have I ever said, hey, buy from me. Here's my art. I want you to buy from me. That's never been the angle whatsoever. It's all been about, I want to show you how you can do this yourself, how you can make the money. And that's what's important. Let's see here. What's the next one? But the human condition as well too, which is crazy, the human condition, which I understand, is that you'll have people who will, you have people who they're looking for ways not to do the work. And I've never sugarcoated things from the beginning to say that it's not work, because it's work, just like a job is work. It's better than me lying like anybody else online and being like, oh, it's just get rich quick scheme. I think a get rich quick scheme in 2026 is saying only thing you got to do is paint one painting, and then a magical collector is going to come by who's got a lot of money, and they're going to buy it from you. You just got to focus on one painting. That's me selling a get rich quick scheme. That's more of a get rich quick scheme than anything, compared to me saying work. You have to work. But when you work, you're going to notice that your ego is out of it. You're not concerned too much with the art, and you get better. You naturally get better at it. It's not about, oh, well, you have to spend 3 to 5 hours on one painting, and that means you never get better then. If you're spending that long on each painting, then you're never getting better. That's just like if you tell a fitness coach that you were at the gym for 3 to 5 hours, they're going to be like, why? You don't need to be at the gym that long. It means you're never getting better then. Certain things you just get better at, and you know how to do it faster. Let's see here. So true. When I was in art college, they laughed at my painting, said that the neck was too long on a figure. It's my art. I can do what I want. I love your teachings as always. Truths. Exactly. Like, see, when they say stuff like that, they're thinking of academics. Academics can't be art. Academics could be whatever. I mean, art could be whatever I want it to be. Is there a certain size that buyers seem to want more than another? No, not really. It just changes up. It could be a 14 by 11. It could be a 12 by 16. They do love 16 by 20s, but the thing about 16 to 20s, if you do it too much, it becomes a problem, because not everybody has the space in their home to always be hanging up these big 16 by 20s all the time. So a lot of times people want to compensate. They still want to buy your artwork, and they just might want to get a smaller one from you just so they can put it in the corner of the bathroom or something like that. They can't always do it with a 16 by 20. Biggest lie in the art is that there's limited buying audience. Great art can inspire people to buy. Got to have the art out there to show people unexpected inspiration. Exactly. You got to put it out there somehow. Or it's like, do you want to work or do you not want to work? Like I was just saying the other day on the live stream, is that some actors out there, right? They're good actors, but they like acting, and they might take a lot of crappy scripts because that's all they could get. And it's like, what am I going to do? Sit at home and not act? Because every script has to be a great script. If not, you're just not a good actor. That's the mindset of these people. And it's like, you're an artist. It doesn't have to be. So I say all that to say that I just don't want anybody to get caught up in your mindset of what someone else has to say or what their frequency is, because their frequency is what they believe in themselves. Like another thing that the YouTuber was saying is like, oh, I can't believe that they paint 10 to 15 paintings a day. They'll get burnt out and they'll never want to keep doing that. And it's like, you can't say that for everybody, because I could do 15 paintings in my sleep. And I've been doing it for years. Now you'll get to that point where you can work it up that way. And then you also, what they don't also understand, they think that like we work every single day, when that's not true. You could set yourself up a schedule where you're just doing 15 paintings a day, Monday through Friday, or 20 paintings a day, Monday through Thursday. And then you could take those 2 to 3 days off. But as long as you have it drafted out where you have them scheduled for the following days, you could do it like that. There was a study. There was a study that was done. I'm going to pull the study up and actually post it inside the community. But there was a study that was done where they had art students, and they had they had they broke it into two different groups, A and B. A, they told A to focus on one beautiful painting, try to make it be the best painting ever, and try to focus on having it be the best painting. And then B, they said try to just focus on making the most paintings. All right. Now, which one at the end of it do you think had the best paintings with the study? Let me know in the comments which ones had the best paintings. The one where they said just focus on making one beautiful Mona Lisa, or the group where they said to them, hey, don't focus on how beautiful they are and all that, just focus on making the most of them. So A, they told them just to focus on making one painting, focus on that one painting. And then group B, they told them, don't think about how beautiful it is, just make as many as you can. Which one came out to be the most experienced and had the most beautiful paintings? Which ones? I'll wait for you. Were you able to hear me? I know it sounded like my neighbor was moving a truck in the back, so it was like some beeping noise. I don't know if you're able to hear me. None of them. A meteor hit the building. Black Swan event. None of them. A meteor hit the building. Black Swan event. At my art college, they told me it would have been better to sketch a piece 15 times than draw it like it did. Oh, I apologize. Yeah, it was the beeping. One of my business neighbors run a like a coffee distribution thing, so they were moving the thing. I apologize about that. The story that I was saying is that the story that I was saying is that you had a study that was done where it was an art college or art school where they had two different groups, group A, group B. They told group A to paint one beautiful painting, focus on that. They gave them like a month to do. On that month, just focus on the most beautiful painting. And then group B, they told group B, don't focus on the beauty, don't focus on quality, just try to have as many paintings as possible. Now, who had the most success at the end is what I was asking. Who do you think had the most success? It was Group B. Group B had the most success. Group B had the most success because through volume and speed, they were able to get better, but also they didn't have the pressure on them to produce and to have that one Mona Lisa and have it be special, or they were going to get an A plus or a B plus or something like that. Instead, they were just able to show up in the moment and create. Murphy says, at my art college interview, they told me it would have been better to sketch a piece 15 times than to draw it like I did. It's so true, because you'll end up getting better. You'll get better with it. It's not like you stay the same. So that's the thing too, is about when we talk about the lottery ticket effect in art, you're going to get better the more that you actually do it. But when you hold on to one Mona Lisa, you're too conscious about it. You're thinking too much about it. You want it to be perfect. You want it to be perfect because you're only focused on a few or one or two or three at a time. And that's nerve-wracking compared to you get so much better in your art choices and letting go by you just doing multiples and working fast and finding the happy mistakes, as Bob Ross used to say. You're not going to be able to find your happy mistakes by focusing on one painting. Hey, Treasure. I'm gonna pull that study up. It's so important. Happy accidents, exactly. That's what it's all about. You can't find the happy accidents if you're spending hours on a painting. If you're spending hours on a painting, there are no happy accidents because you want everything to be perfect. How can you predict everything to be perfect? Life isn't perfect. You force the happy mistakes by working fast. And that shows the confidence in your work as well too. Like major gallery artists, when you think of like Damien Hirst or even like Coons, they work fast and production style too. And when somebody say to them, "Oh, that's not art because you're working a production style." I mean, these people are multimillionaires. Look at that. It's our native Indian coming to light. I love doing these. I always focus on the color first. Production style, good description. Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong. People think, oh, you're working in a production style, so that's not art. Says who? It has to be slow and methodical. Then that's like a warehouse. Because the thing is, life has already taken so much time away from us, right? And so many different things in our life. Life has already taken so much time away from us. So, what I suggest and the things I talk about is how you can buy your time back. How you, I mean, this is the thing. If you go the old traditional route, who has time to build up your portfolio on Instagram, show it to Instagram, build up a following, and then go to an art fair, and then use the email list so someone could hopefully one day, hey, when they get paid, or oh, hopefully they'll remember me, they'll call you. eBay already has the psychological effect in there to make people come to us, already built in there. We already have a newsletter list in there that eBay automatically sends out about what our new art is, even if it's the auction or the buy it now art. We don't have to wait on a physical newsletter to print out and then email. That's just too much work. I'm saving people time. So you don't waste any more of it. Either either my comments aren't working or the meteor that hit my building hit y'all too. Are y'all in here? Let me know if you resonate with what I'm saying. Discerning Light says, I feel like production style becomes more of a movement through the body and therefore more playful. The other way, I find I am more in my mind in opinions, which blocks my enjoyment of the process. That's a great way of saying it. That's so true. Just fighting off the heat gun sunburn. That is so true. How you said that. The other way, I find I'm more in my mind, and I think so too. So that's why I like working the way that I do. Is that I don't? It's just like I'm in my head too much about it, because then what happens is you have too much time to think about the choices. It becomes analysis by paralysis. I'm like, oh, should I do this? I'm thinking too much. What do we always talk about when it comes to beginner's luck is that usually the people who are dumber than you, they're more successful. And the reason that they're more successful is because they're so focused on the action, they're so focused on the speed, they don't have time to analyze and think. If you're going to give me time to analyze and to think, then I'm just going to be thinking that I'm wrong and I'm going to be overthinking. I'm not going to want to do it because the brain's going to play tricks on me of why, oh, nobody wants this. Nobody likes me. But if I'm just working in the action, I'm just showing up, then I don't have time. My brain doesn't have time to psych me out to not do something that I know I should be doing that's good for me. It's just better to go into it instead of, oh, well, you have to spend hours into it. Then at that point, like, so this is the crazy thing is that this person was coming from an angle that the more that you spend time on something, the more that you're being creative. And I would say that's the opposite, because I don't think that you're being too creative when you're spending so much time on it. You're just being calculated. And you're trying to not make mistakes. If you're spending so much time on something, you're being calculated instead of letting it happen. Letting it happen is being creative. I mean, would that same person say that to a child who spent a certain amount on it? No, you need to get back to it because you didn't spend long enough on it, little Billy. And he's like, oh. Let's see here. Snapchat says all social media and email lists, grinding on that stuff. That takes time. That takes energy out of actually creating. Exactly. That's all I want to do. I just want to create. I list it. The audience is already there. Everything else is already there. eBay already spent the money. They already have the foundation. Everything is there for me. I don't need to do all of that. I used to do that stuff all the time. And then I freed myself when I stopped doing it. Every day I used to feel like it was like a job to me. All right, check this out. This is our silhouette Indian right here. Real abstract, real expressionism. It's real fun. I mean, this is the thing. This is beautiful right here to me. But who's to say, oh, you only did it in whatever amount of time? That's not art. This is art right there. It doesn't always have art is only if it's a perfect Indian face and the symmetry is no, it's not. Look at that right there. It's beautiful. All right, on to the next one. But yeah, when I was online, it was like a full-time job. I used to, and then I used to always have to post these stories, like, oh, the behind the scenes of how I'm creating this next painting. This is what I'm working on. This is how I'm mixing it. This is how and then I'm doing all these things, right? And then guess what? It doesn't equate to $1. It doesn't equate to $1. The conversion rate was so low. The conversion rate is so low on those. You're doing all this work on social media, and then no one's even purchasing. You get free likes. So I was like, I'm just going to actually do stuff that actually makes the money. And I don't care what people think. But like I said, it's not for everybody. If your ego's still involved in it and you want to feed the fame or feed your family, which one is it? And then this is the thing too, is that we're the only one where I've seen online. I mean, there's people who paint and stuff like that, of course, but this is the only one where you're going to actually see people where I'm doing volume and I'm actually showing up the work. It's real easy for like coaches or gurus or some people to say they're doing this or they're doing that, but you never see them actually working and actually doing the thing instead of just making content or talking about the process, but not actually working it. This one never going to be painting right now. This is some fishes. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you a technique how you can really make things fast if you want to. This is a cool technique. This is like really abstraction, and I do this a lot where I'm like rushing, but I'm gonna show you this technique. All right, so check this out. So you see these fishes right here. All right, so we see these fishes right here, right? This is what I do. I take the cheap brush, which is this, like you get from a dollar store. It's super wet, and I'm about to do a watercolor background, right? Well, actually, you know what? First, what you could do, you could take oil pastels, and then real quick, you could kind of just go through some of the proportions of what we're doing. Just roughly do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, and then you could be any color. I'm just trying to find some, let's see, my oil pastels. It could be any color. It could be anything. This is something that I do to go through things really fast. All right. I take oil pastel and I'm just randomly doing this. I'm just going through it. Okay. Watch, this is all going to come together at the end. You'll see what I'm talking about. Is this brown? All right, it is. Look, watch this. Now I'm doing a circle. I'm doing this because we have our proportions. We're doing these fishes, okay? Look at this. I don't care about anything. I'm over here. We're making quick, beautiful art. Will somebody say the Basquiat? That's like, imagine the art snob saying that the Basquiat. Well, that's not art. He couldn't stand people like that. That's why he made the art that he did. Now, Basquiat, like I was saying, Basquiat, what people don't know is that he could actually draw. Just like Picasso could actually draw. You could draw like realistic and perfect and whatever they say art is, but it gets so boring and you wouldn't be Basquiat and you wouldn't be Picasso if you just kept doing perfect. what they say is art. That's why I love Picasso's quote where he says, taste is the enemy of creativity. The things that you think is art or you want me to do, that's art, that's taste. I rather do bad taste. I rather do what I want. And that way I can find the mistakes and the beauty that other people will be like, okay, I'll take it. Because there's the confidence in it that nobody, well, I can't find that from another artist. They're doing all this other boring art. All right, so look, you see how I'm just doing this right now, right? Where I'm just roughly going over the proportions. It doesn't even matter. Sometimes when I do this, I just turn the lights off. So I can just randomly do this. All right. So you see how I did this. Now what I'll do is I'll take this brush, which is a watercolor, and then I'll just lightly, really quick, go over different colors. It doesn't matter what the color is as well. I'll put paint on here. I'll go over them. I dip it in the water, and then look, boom. Okay. You see how I did that? I'll load it up with paint a little bit more again. I'll dip it in the water, and I'll go over here. I'll do it again over here. I'll do it there. I'll do a little bit of blue, a little bit of white. I loaded it up, right? I'll dip it into the water, go back over here. I'll do this with a lot of paintings. This is one of my secrets. I don't think I've actually shot a video doing this type of style before, but I do a lot of it. I'm gonna do this. It doesn't matter what the colors are for me. Because the thing is, with this watercolor technique that I'm doing right now, where I'm just going through a background with it, I'm not really focused on the perfection of it now, because later on I'll touch it up with whatever the color is. I'm just kind of lightly getting that color wet. And then what you could do too, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take my spray out, right? And I'll drip it. You see the drippage? The drippage is everything. The drippage is what you'll find in gallery artwork. You see that? Just take that, and you see how I'm spraying that, letting that water drip on there. Now, what I'll do, I'm going to dry it off a little bit. It all adds to layer later on. Trust me, you got to trust the process. Let's say here, this says the only way that naysayers can get views on their stuff is by being negative towards other people and putting them down to make themselves feel better. Unfortunately, negativity gets views. That is so true. Yeah, that's true when it comes to social media. When it comes to Instagram, it's bad news gets clicks. Like even if you don't have bad news, I think there was a study done on it, or there was a video that was breaking it down where it's like you get more analytics compared to if you said something like, I have great news to tell you. I just had this happen, compared to I just lost my business and everything fell for me. If you start off and have a title like that, you'll get more clicks compared to if you say everything is going right for me and I made $1 million. Nobody wants to click on it. Everybody wants to hear your downfall, and they want to hear the negativity. And that's unfortunate. All right, so that's dry enough for me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and actually do a light touch of the actual painting of the fish, right? And here, so now I have my 1.5 brush. Okay. And now I'm going to go in on the fishy. Just really quick. Just really quick, because remember, it doesn't matter. You could just always say to yourself that you're doing a study. You could say that, oh, this is a study. No one's going to see it. If you feel like it's not working for you or it's not the direction that you want to go in, it doesn't matter. Even the ugliest art, things that we consider as the ugliest art, there's somebody who's going to love it and want it in their home. We get so down on ourselves, and we talk ourselves out of a situation. I don't want people to talk bad about me. I want everything that I do to be perfect, or I'll be embarrassed. We can't. We don't. We don't make it out alive. Let's see here. See, even at this point, it's kind of hard for me to actually see the projection, and that's fine. You don't always have to have everything be tightly neat and compact. And that was another thing that was like, some people have the idea that just because we work off of a projector, that we are doing exactly what we are projecting, which I never talk about doing. I always talk about using the projector as a tool for the proportions, and whatever inside of you, you can be creative and pull it out yourself. But you never hear me talk about do the exact of whatever we're projecting, nor do we ever talk about stealing from other artists or copying or anything like that. Now, what we do talk about is make things your own. Picasso used to say, decent artist copy, great artist steal. Make it your own. But also, what people don't understand from us is that we get our references mostly from AI. And who's to say, oh well, you're stealing from that artist AI. Like, I don't understand what people think stuff like that. It's just so weird if you really even study art history, because none of these ideas are ours. Even the great artists, they're not theirs. You're going to use a reference or something from something else. There's nothing new under the sun. I'm just building up layers real quick right now, just off of the fishy. Now I'm just going to dabble in where I think their eyeball is at. And then what we'll do to bring this all in is we're going to use the black so we can know where we're at with the fishies or whatever that we're drawing. But I usually like to do this so it adds layers to whatever we're painting. And even if it doesn't come out whatever, it's fine, you know? Now I want to play with oil pastels. Yeah, I love oil pastels. I love painting on top of it. I love using the acrylic with it. It adds layers because like you can see underneath. And I mean, we're not even to the good stuff yet. We're almost there where I'm going to show you how it all comes together, because I know it still looks a little wild right now. You always like I don't know what I'm doing, but it always comes together. And the only way that it's going to ever come together is by you trusting in the process. You just keep going and you showing up, because the mistakes that you make on one painting, you can correct it on the next painting. You don't, that's the thing. When people spend too much time on one painting, you'll get burnt out easily that way. You get burnt out from spending time on one painting. So that's another aspect too. People who talk about that you should be spending so much time working one painting, that's a way for you to get burnt out. Because you'll have so much time to want to make things perfect and for it to work out for you. And then you're like, you're burnt out of that painting. Like, a lot of times when I'm working off of a painting, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I can't wait to work on the next painting, because I get bored easily. And I don't want to work a painting too long. There's an old saying from an artist, or not an old saying, but one of these artists that I loved his saying. He was like, "It's never finished. Art is never finished. You could always keep working art. It's never finished. Like, you can always keep going. It's never finished. Art is never finished. You could always keep working art. It's never finished." There's so many things that you can always keep adding to it. It needs this, it needs that. Let me add to this layer. Let me add to that layer. I mean, you know, artists in the past, the masters, they used to, what they would do, because they couldn't get canvases all the time, so they would just paint on top of painting. So a lot of times, whenever you see masters paintings, they always show the paintings that's underneath of it. And the reason why this painting's underneath of it is because they wanted to work on a new painting, or they would just, you know, have a study that's underneath of the painting, and then they would work another one because it's never finished. They would always keep working the art. So true. I have many unfinished paintings because I get burnt out on them. Yeah, you just want to paint another one. And the reason that you want to paint another one is because you're creative, you're an artist. And it feels good to just create and to show up. That's why in the community and my students who I coach, anytime they let go and they finally do it that way, they're like, man, this is the best that I felt in a long time, just creating art. Because at least that you get to paint, at least that you get to get onto another painting. Like, could you imagine how boring it would be to be working the same painting for days on end or hours on end? Eventually you'll get bored and you're like, I'm tired of looking at this painting. Or you know how you work a painting and then it's usually the next week or the next the next day or whenever that you look at the painting and then you could enjoy it, but you looked at the painting so long you get painter eyes, so you don't know how to look at it no more. We all have that problem. If you work a painting too long, you don't know how to you don't know how to look at it no more because you worked it too long. So that's the problem too. When they're like, oh, you could be creative by working a painting for how many other hours? You can't, because your eyes, you looked at it for too long and you can't step back. It's so hard to step back and because you're like, I just want to move on to another painting. I'm always thinking that. That's why I always talk about when I work fast too. I'm thinking about the next painting because I get bored quick and I just want to create. And I'm like, I want to get onto the next painting because at least the next painting has it has a new idea. It has a new whatever it is that's going to be for me. And then I get to have fun into it, whatever it's going to be. But imagine working the same woman or the same theme or the same painting for a week, for 3 hours, or for whatever. That's not fun. The only reason that you're creating art for that point is vanity. You're doing it for other people to give you free likes and for them to say you're an artist. And then you could take this big painting that you worked on and you think that there's skill involved, and then you take it to an art fair so you could show people you did it, but then nobody buys it. But you're like, it's okay. I'm an artist because I worked 3 hours on it. I worked 5 hours on it, so it's okay because I did the detail. Well, at least I'm an artist, but you're broke. It doesn't matter if I'm broke. Thank you, Zen Zen, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Let's go. That's a co-sponsorship right there. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you're getting value from this, please leave me a super chat, buy me a coffee. Let me know that you appreciate the things that I'm talking about. At least if you're painting with me, it really goes a long way. Lets me know. Helps support what I'm doing. That way I can keep doing this every single I can see keep doing this every single day, or at least Monday through Friday for now, Monday through Thursday. We can keep doing this together. Also, leave me some likes on the video. Pass me some likes. Bro, I don't see any wrenches on the chat. Hit someone up to be a mod for you. Seriously? Okay, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that tomorrow more that I see who are the consistent people in here. I mean, but I'm not seeing any like any spam or negativity or anything like that, right? Like for me to rush to the mob thing, but I'll do that tomorrow once I see like who's the consistents, right? Then I'll do that. Yeah, I haven't seen any trolls or anything like that. But if you see something, let me know. I'll definitely, I know who would be some mods for sure. I'm definitely gonna get a moderation. I'm glad that you said that. Don't you worry about that. This is only our third day because I understand that eventually we'll get them right, and by them we mean them. That is so true. Devil loves the mob, the unprepared. I love that. I love that quote. I'm gonna use that. All right, there's our fishy right there. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because, like I said, we want to get on to the next one. But that's just a technique that I like to do. Let me put my signature on here and give you a close up. I like to do that so it can add layers to the painting. Let me add a little bit of white highlights in some of these areas, though. Devil loves the mob, the unprepared. That's a bar. Boom. All right. The only spammer is you. I got my deposit from my first sale in the gallery. You impacted my life. Much love and support to you and for you. Love the elite family. I appreciate that. That really means a lot. That really means a lot because that's what we do it for. Look at that. There's our fishies right there. You see how it all comes together? I told you it comes together at the end. I don't know what I'm doing. Look, if I could do this, you could do this. Only thing we're doing, we're just adding abstract. You see how loose I was with it? I know it looks crazy at one point, right? It looked crazy. Like, how is he going to bring this together? I don't see what's going on. What's the thing? I don't know either. But look how this does. I'm not an artist. How does this happen? God has this happen. That's how. Look, there we go right there. That's beautiful right there. Now imagine you do this on a larger scale. You can do that. Boom. On to the next one. Yeah, that's a big congratulations right there. Big congratulations. I remember you were talking about you shipped out that commission too, or you were getting it ready for shipping. Yeah, people put the fishes in their kitchen, their bathrooms. This is another one of my favorites right here is doing a chicken, a hen, rooster. I love doing these. So fun. So much color. All right, so let's do the background first. So that way we just have something to build on. Just build on this, a light blue. Boom. See here. Left facing is not typical, I think. Interesting study for right-handers. Funky chicken. Now, I don't care if it's left facing, right facing, upside down facing. I'm gonna paint it. We're gonna make it happen. Boom. All right. So on this one, let's start with the dark colors first because I wanna build up on the dark colors. I want to build up on the black or like a darker red. So let's see here. Actually, let's take the 1-inch brush out so we can do our sketching. It's just going to be easier, and then it's just going to be better to build the layers up on it. But yeah, what I was talking about is that as we always talk about, more listings beat better listings. Oh, that's so cool. I was just noticing because in the antique world of cameos, left facing is sought after because they were not made very often. That's cool. See, you learn something new every day. I'm glad you told me that. You told me stuff like that, I'll be making a bunch of stuff left facing. That is cool to learn. But what I was saying is that more listings beat better listings any day. I mean, the buyers can't buy what they don't see. If you're too focused on creating one one Mona Lisa, eventually you're going to get burnt out because nobody likes the Mona Lisa. Oh, it didn't do well, and nobody can see the other work that you have. We call it the lottery ticket effect. The more lottery tickets that you put out there, the better your chances are of selling the higher ticket. But also for you to sell different versions of the ticket, you can't control the market what the ticket's going to be. Either the buy it now, either the commission artwork, either the gallery artwork that you consider that, or there's just different variations, and you want to just have the lottery ticket out there. I used to be so down on myself when I didn't put out enough lottery tickets, enough paintings, because I'm so stuck in my head still about, whenever my store was going good, right, and I'm thinking that all the market is good right now, my store is going good. I would become human myself, and I'm arrogant, and then I would be like, "Ugh, I already know what they like to see. I'm just going to focus on these type of Mona Lisas because that's what they want to see." Then I would go in my arrogant phase and I would keep pumping out the things that used to work or I think that works. And and what would happen is the market doesn't react to it, and I'm like, oh, I'm humbled again. I thought I had it down pack. I thought I understood the market. One time I had a reseller who really liked collecting these UFO paintings that I was doing. He was paying good money for it, right? And I'm like, whoa, everybody likes these. I'm just going to focus on these. This is the money print right here. So what did I do? Being arrogant, I just focused on doing the UFO paintings. I just kept focusing on doing different versions of the UFO paintings. And then what eventually happens? He's not interested in those UFO paintings no more because his market's not interested in it, or his buyers aren't interested in it, or they're not no more. So then what happens is, like, here I focused on that too long, and then they stop buying it. And then I'm stuck with these UFO paintings that are not selling as high as they used to. And I'm like, dang, because I didn't put out enough lottery tickets out there of different art of what could work. Pigs do well too. Chickens, roosters, cows, bulls are significant positive symbols in many cultures. Yeah, they do. They do very well. I started painting aliens instead of the UFO. They do well on eBay. They really do. I still love painting them, and people love them as well. For some reason, they do well. But there was just this point in time where it was doing too well for me. See, that's another thing too. All right, I'm gonna give you elite game right now for free, or not for free to my elite people, but you know what I'm saying. If there's a theme that you know it hits and it does well, don't harper on it too much. Keep it in your back pocket for when you want that paycheck. And then you could pull that out when you need a certain paycheck or when you need a certain dollar amount. And then you could pull it out. But if you hit on it all the time, it's going to be saturated and it's going to dilute when you need it. If that makes sense. So if there's a popular painting that you know that does well all the time. Like I've been painting for so long, I know certain of my paintings that do well every time I do it. But I don't paint them all the time because I only wait for the moments that I want to either make that day significant or that dollar amount. And I want that dollar amount. And then I'm able to do it. So that's what's going to happen after a while. After you put out so much data, you're going to have so much data points where you're going to be able to print your paychecks because you know which one of your paintings always do well, which themes do well, what colors. You're going to know that the more that you do it. That's why people don't understand our business of being be like, oh, well, they day trade and they don't understand the bigger picture of what we know. There's going to be certain paintings that you know do well. Don't always paint it until you know there might be a moment where you need it. And then you could go and do it. But if you do it all the time because you think it's always a hot item, it gets dry. It gets dry on eBay. It can get dry. And you can't always bank on that. I've learned that the hard way where I became arrogant. I think because that's how galleries work. Galleries work that way where you could just keep banking on the same thing, banking on the same thing, banking on the same thing, the same style, the same thing. eBay doesn't work like that. You got to change it up. But when you see that there's certain styles, you'll notice certain styles and certain things that you do of the paintings or whatever they are always successful. Take a screenshot of it, keep it in your back pocket for when you might need that money or when you want a painting to do well or something. And then you can always bank back on it. I don't always paint the paintings that I know are doing well because I still want it to be when I want to change it up and have the variation for when I need it to sell money. I can always know which paintings sell money for me because I've been doing this for a while. I can always know what to go to if I ever need to fall back into that. And you'll get to that point too. Man, my neighbor's making a lot of noise today in their business. Lord have mercy. I apologize about that if you're picking up extra noise. It's from the business next door. So whenever certain paintings do successful for me, and if it's not a one-off, I take pictures of it and I save it in a folder or on my phone for inspiration, and I'll call it inspiration, or I'll print it out. So I know that art style if I ever need to be like, all right, I need a quick $100. Boom. You'll always have paintings that you can fall back into for that quick hundo. Certain paintings will always like give you that quick hundo. So when would you suggest we quit our day jobs? Well, that's up to you. I can't tell you that. Because you would have to bet on yourself. You know, it's up to you when you feel like you're up to betting on yourself. For me, it got to a point where if you're tired of certain things long enough and you don't want to be like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to bet on myself because I believe in it. It depends on how much you believe in it. Me, I believed in it enough where I was like, I'm not, and I was tired of corporate America where I would have been willing to do anything. And not anything, you know what I mean, as far as when it comes to art. And that's another thing. That's a great question that you brought up. Because when certain people, like what I was talking about, when they make video or say certain things and they don't understand, like you must come from a privileged mindset to think like, I'm just going to create art for 3 to 4 hours. And then I'm going to build up this catalog and I'm going to show it on Instagram and I'm going to wait for an art fair to give out newsletters. That comes from a privileged mindset to even think like that. I mean, I didn't have that privilege of making art for 3 to 4 hours and hope that somebody's going to buy it. And that's what somebody else wrote on there too. Like, if you don't have a following, like that newsletter thing doesn't even make sense. You're going to, I want the money now. I want the money now, and it's a privilege for somebody to be like, well, just make a painting and wait around for somebody to want your Mona Lisa. Like that's such a privileged way of thinking, and that's such an old way of thinking about art. And I always tell people, I always said that, you know, I can't tell you where you're at in your life or what your whys are. We always talk about your whys and make sure that your whys are strong enough of why you want to paint and why you want to create in volume and why you want to do what we're doing. And it's not for everybody. If your why is strong enough, then you can have a why of to do it, and it's not even an issue. But if your why is not strong enough, then you're just going to be like, oh well, I'm waiting for the galleries to come along and make the sales, and you're going to be thinking about art in the old traditional way. And it's just a privilege. It's a privilege for someone to think like that. But that's not what I teach, because we're not all in the situation to be privileged like that, to just wait around for art to come our way and hopefully that golden unicorn is going to buy our Mona Lisa that we spent 20 hours on. Like if I'm broke, why do I want to work for free for 20 hours and then not get nothing for it? I don't want to waste any more time. Well, at least it's a beautiful art and you and your friends and family could be proud of you on Facebook. Yep, I am betting on myself. I am disabled and I'm not working for anyone but myself and betting on me to make my path how I want it and not how others want it to go. Exactly. That's the thing too. I bet on myself because I burn the ships. I always talk about that. Like if you have a mindset where you have too many options, then it's not going to really work because you have too many options and you could go back and you could be like, well, the human mind will make so many excuses of why it won't work. You're like, I got people who are looking for reasons why it won't work and why you won't be successful, than actually believing why you will be successful. And one of the things I always talk about is that no matter what you tell yourself, you're right in life. If you say that you're not capable of doing this, if you say you're not capable of that, if you say that this won't work or that won't work, or why you and whatever you say, your mind is powerful and you're right, and your mind is going to believe it, and that's what's going to happen. And there's just too many people who are looking for reasons why things won't work for them or find excuses of why not to try and to do it the old way. Because really deep down inside, what nobody wants to admit is that you don't want to do the work. And I've never lied and said that it's not going to be work. Those are get rich quick schemes. You're going to have to work. And I don't feel bad about that at all because I've already put the work in. Now, I have some people, right? And they go like this. They go, well, I looked at your store, Corbellic, and you haven't been selling this much. And what are your sales? The whole 2025, the whole last year, I spent most of the year building up my coaching program, building up my courses where I have 1,000 hours of almost video and content on there, of building everything up, going through everything. I sacrificed my eBay store. So if you were talking to a coach, like an NBA coach or NFL coach, would you say to Muhammad Ali, would you say to Michael Jordan, hey, you can't tell me how to be successful because I looked at your numbers last week and you didn't play a football. I could close my eBay store right now and I still have the records of selling 17,000 original paintings. I didn't hack into eBay to make eBay say that I sold over 17,000. That's public record that anybody can see. But people go, well, you're not that coach. Like some people go, oh, like I was reading the comments, some people go, well, if you check that coach's records, he's not selling that much right now. eBay's not my full-time job right now. But me being a coach and having that record on there, that doesn't mean that I don't have the experience to tell you how to do it. Would you not listen to an NFL coach, Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan telling you that? They don't have to be in the game right now. You're not paying them to participate in the game. They're not catching footballs right now, but the knowledge of what they have. So that just comes from a loser's mindset as well, where they don't want to do the work and they're looking for excuses. Well, Corbellic's not doing it right now. I don't have to. All right, I think this is a good painting right here. Like that's like I couldn't even imagine saying that about information on someone where it's like the most coaches that are out there that are teaching you something, they mostly just talk and you don't even know what their skill sets are. They're just saying that they can help you from their words. But me, I show up and I'm still painting and I show you how this is possible because I could do this, not because I need to. I don't need to. But I enjoy helping people so they can free themselves and they can make additional money as well. Because once you see that you're capable of doing it, once you see that it's possible from everything that I say, then you know how to scale it up and make yourself 100,000. You can always scale it up. Look at that. Huh? What do you think? You like it? Is it cool? Is it not cool? Let me know in the comments. Is it not art because we only spent the 12 minutes on it or so? Like, like of course this is beautiful. People will love this. All right. Let me take a water break and then I'll be right back. If you haven't already, leave some likes on the video. Let me know that you're getting some content out of this. Let me know that you're following along, that I'm also helping you flow along with the process. So leave some likes on there. Leave me some super chats. That'd be really helpful. Let me know that, you appreciate all the content that's going on. Buy me a coffee if you can. And I appreciate it. All right, we're back. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. I just got off the line of thinking and slacking that you describe. Appreciate you, sir. I just got out of the line of thinking and slacking that you describe. Yep, it's happened. We all do it. I have a different way of thinking, but I appreciate the company of passionate people with humor. A different style could be inspiring too. This has been awesome, Corey. Got 5 done, and now I'm doing a little jobby job work, doing another 90 later. Yep, there you go. 90 minutes. That's awesome. Getting work done. All right, let's get on to the next painting. Got to do the worky too. See, that's awesome when you can multitask yourself to know your schedule. You could also work your job and you can also do this. If you want it bad enough, you can do it. Your brain will believe anything of what you say. You could either work it or you can't work it. You know what? Rooster time, another rooster. You know what? On this one, let's make this into like a Kellogg's. Let's put Kellogg's above it. Because I understand, I know people love the cereal ones. So let's do this quick. I'm going to do this one like the same of how we did the other one, where it's kind of like we do the watercolor underneath and then maybe the pastel on top of it or underneath of it. Let's do the pastel a little bit underneath of it right now. So let me show you how I would do this. Watch this. So you see this, I'm using the pastel real loose, just straight on the canvas. We didn't even do a background. Sometimes you don't always want to do a background. It's fine. Because sometimes you just want the white to be the white, makes it more serious of a painting, makes it more artistic. You know, you're just enough. It's just confident in whatever it is. So you can see I'm just going straight into it. Yeah, Lee's paints are amazing. But you know, I think everybody's paintings are amazing in the elite program. I think everybody's paintings are amazing because art is subjective and you're showing up. I'm inspired by everybody. Now I'm going to have a little bit of red on here. So inspiring. Look at this. Circle. You see how I'm doing this where it's like it adds the background so that way when we go into it, it adds to the layer of it. I love this. Now what we do, we just go back into our watercolor brush, the cheap one, right? This one, let's go into a blue and let's water it down. So then we just do these type of brush strokes, right? We don't want to do the whole thing. We just want to add a little bit of the layer there. Let's go into a purple. Let's go into a purplish red and watercolor. Boom. Look at this. See how I did that? Let's go into the yellow and the tan color. Look at this. Let me go into the tan color again with the yellow and then more water. I do this whenever I'm want to do something fast. This is one of my methods. And it looks great because you get a little bit of that drippage too. There's nothing wrong with the drippage. All right, now we're done with that one. See how quick that was? I mean, the painting's not done, but at least only thing I got to do in here is go in here with a little bit of color, do a little bit of highlights, put our Kellogg's on top. Boom. I'm telling you, this one right here, this is one of those paintings that I was telling you about where it's like, you know which ones sell. So let me dry this off. Discerning Light, I'm planning on joining soon. Just have to get through this big move. That's awesome. Yeah, you're gonna find it's better than anything that's out there. This isn't like some art Facebook group or anything like that. You're really going to be in the direction, but also have the mindset to sell, but also what to do to set your store up. And then also cross list. So that's another thing too. Looking from the outside in, someone looking from the outside in, they don't even know of what our course of what we have in there and how we break things down, especially when it comes to um excuse me, especially when it comes to cross listing and having it on different sites and how we go about that. There's just so much information in there, and it's like I said, a person with no a person with a character, a person with no character has no enemies. Like, look, mom, I made it. And look how loose we're doing this chicken. This is how you want to do it, you know? You could do it this loose. That way they already know the intention that you're being confident in what you're doing. Sometimes people think that the more that they're working on artwork, it shows confidence when it doesn't. You're only working the artwork so much because you're not confident. And a lot of times less is best. Do you think it's better to pay for an eBay store versus just listing? We talk about that inside the art program. So yeah, just join the elite coaching, and we have everything broken down. That's one of the first lessons right there that you'll get in there. I'm so sick of the social media art dopamine trap game. I quit all of them. Yeah, I quit them. I quit that stuff 6 years ago, and I didn't look back. Like my last post on social or on Instagram, when I was doing all the art posts and all that, that was 6 years ago. And I followed all the games of it. And I'm so glad. And the thing is, it is a dopamine track because you get caught up into it thinking that you're being productive. Social, like if you're on the Instagram doing things, because nowadays the Instagram is that's your art portfolio. Back in the day, you used to have an actual art portfolio. Nowadays, people think your art portfolio is what's your Instagram like? Oh, how many followers do you have? Oh, you don't have a blue check mark. I actually have a blue check mark on Instagram. And it doesn't mean anything. You think that means that I was selling anything? No. I didn't get any art sales off of Instagram. I got my art sales and my commissions and my clients off of eBay. And people don't even understand. They're like, "Oh, you can't get contacts off of them." Yes, you can. They're like, "Oh, but you can't get the email list." You don't have the email list is better on eBay because You can always send them a direct message. You have direct message on there, but also every week they get newsletters. So when people talk about newsletters, they talk about them sending an email over with a newsletter. Emails don't even have a high open percentage rate. eBay has a higher open percentage rate when people see a newsletter that comes through directly. Hey, this is what this artist has going on this week. This is what the new items are this week. eBay does that automatically. I would have never taken the leap if I didn't find Corbellic in the group. That's awesome. People tell me, oh, everybody has an Instagram. Why don't you have an Instagram? Exactly. There was always way too much negativity towards art elsewhere. Yeah. Everybody has an Instagram. Instagram becomes a popularity contest. That's what it's like. It's like high school. And I just got tired of it because it doesn't equate to anything real. Besides a bunch of maybes. Well, I love your artwork. One day, don't worry, when I get paid, I'm going to buy your artwork. Do they ever come back? Do they ever come back to you and buy the artwork when they say that? When I get paid on Instagram, oh, I really like this one. I wish I could buy it. They say stuff like that, and then you send them a link of where they could buy it, or hey, I saw you were interested. Here, you could buy it. I was just kidding. On eBay, they're not kidding. They want to buy it. They're not there to play games. They're on a marketplace. Although I like to make AI work for me in regards to the algorithm, I would have never found you if I wasn't on here. I'm very selective on my social media to make it work for me as much as I can. No, I appreciate it. That's why I'm glad that I went to or YouTube. I should have done YouTube years ago, and I would have found more of my tribe. I say the same thing. Likes don't pay the bills. Likes don't pay my bills. And then I don't want I couldn't stand the feeling with me where it's like I'm starting to resent these people who are giving me free likes. And it's like I shouldn't have to feel like that. It's not their fault. It's just the algorithm of Instagram and that whole game of that. That has nothing to do with them, And it's like, fine. If people really like my stuff, you really want it, then there's a platform of where to go. Instead of me feeling like, man, what's up with these Instagrammers? They take pics and then I would see videos of these people, right, who were saying that they didn't have the money, but then the next post is something like they got money where they're acting like they're on a yacht, they're on a they're doing special vacations. And not saying that they're not allowed to, like, they have to spend their money with me, but like I got bills to pay. Like, no, I'm done playing you guys' game. I see what's going on here. But where to put a portfolio? I mean, yeah, you could still have it on Instagram if that's what you want, or you could have a Facebook group, or it just depends. Like, it depends on if you're a portfolio for who, though. Yeah, I still like this is the thing. Even though I haven't posted on Instagram in 6 years, right? I still have my gallery artwork that's on there for when I did do a lot of Instagram. I didn't delete those pictures. They're still up on there. So that way nobody could ever be like, if they do want to do research and look at me, they can never say, oh, I just only done in or eBay type of art, or they can see the different range on there. That's fine. So you could do it on there, or you could have even Facebook, or or you could have your portfolio just be eBay. It's up to you, really. It just depends on what you're looking for. Most people go for that portfolio if they're expecting for gallery, or most of my buyers from eBay, they're not on Instagram. So that doesn't ever matter to me. It's a different audience. For commissions, I get hit up on like for years, how I use my portfolio now is I use eBay. eBay's my portfolio. But what you want, if you still want to work Instagram and just have that there for your stuff, do you think it's important to have a website? You can. It could work as well. I mean, you could have a website be your portfolio as well. I used to have a website for years, and then I just gave up on it because all of my gallery work, it's still up on eBay. I just have it priced high for the gallery pricing. Instead of, if someone wants to go to your website, you could do that too. That's still a great option. I don't have anything against that. And that way, if they want to go to your artwork, and they do that. But if you don't want to do the website way, you could also just put your artwork on Instagram. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I stopped playing the game of posting and being involved in engagement on Instagram over the past 6 years. But I still have my gallery work that's on Instagram if people want to see the range in the larger works. I hope that helps. I mean, it's your business. You have to do what works for you. I'm just in a mindset of where I could tell people that if they don't want to, I come from a mindset of telling people, if they don't want to play those games, you don't have to play those games if you don't want to. I'm not saying for you not to. I'm just saying that for people who are tired of Instagram or social media, you don't have to if you don't want to. Because I haven't in 6 years, and I've sold primarily on eBay. That's my whole thing. But if you're still open to that, then that's fine. You can do that too. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you have to have your work seen somewhere. So if you don't want to have a website, then Instagram would be a great place to have your artwork at for your portfolio. All right, I'm done with this painting. It's like our Kellogg's Rooster. Huh? Look at that. What you think? Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. I love it. See, people want something different. Like, it's different. If people want, oh, you got to spend 20 hours onto a painting. People know that you care too much. Scared money makes no money. They're like, dang, I've seen all that pretty artwork too many times. On to the next one. On to the next one. Let's see what we have here. All right. If you're in here and if you haven't already, please leave me some likes. If you haven't left me some likes already, really helps me out on the algo. All right, this one's a Campbell soup with like a expressionism stick man in front of it. So that's gonna be something different, something awesome. Let's go straight into it. I'm gonna take the 1.5-inch brush out on this one. Go into that red. I'm not even gonna do a background. I love a white canvas. Let's destroy it. That's my mindset, exactly. That's my mindset. Let's destroy it. Forget all that pretty stuff. Now you're talking my language. Now you got me pumped up. Like, who cares? A little bit of yellow on the side right here. Just a little bit. Oh, I think it's another more of that beeping noise. I apologize. Maybe today's trash day. Do a little bit of dark blue right here. Or actually, let me clean the brush off. I don't like when it gets too muddy like that. I'm gonna start a stick figure series. Yeah, they're always so fun. You could do stick figure series for sure. I got a whole bunch of stick figure art as well. And that's what I say too. You know, I used to say that quote years ago, right? When I first started doing art, I used to say that if you do one stick figure art, people are going to say, oh, you're a crappy stick figure artist, right? But if you do 100 stick figures, then they're going to say you're a professional stick figure artist. And then they take you serious because you've done 100 of them. It's all about volume. People respect volume no matter what you're painting or what you're doing. A lot of times people respect you and they want your art just because they know that you're prolific. So if you're prolific, there's a reason of why you did your choices of the way you did, compared to if you're not prolific, then they're like, it looks different. It feels different. You're not even prolific. Be prolific in your art. I'd rather be prolific than someone who's, it looks like I care too much and I'm only creating a few paintings, or because you could get away with more in your art by being prolific. For example, when we were talking about Instagram, right? I love that I still have my Instagram gallery artwork up there, right? That way, if anybody does want to go in that direction and they want to look at my gallery work, they could also go, oh, so he can actually paint and do whatever in comparison to what they might think. If I start an art account on Instagram, I think I might just only show paintings once they sold. And thank you. In your elite program, Corbellic, I got bids on my first painting this week. That's awesome to hear. Hey, you're doing an amazing job, Aline. That's why you're really doing a great job, and you're going along with the program. You finished up the 14-day sales activity, and I'm really proud of you, because I mean, you just really take the bulls by the horn, and you're just a great example of success in the program. And I understand it. You know, it's I'm fortunate. This is how I feel about certain things, and that's life as well. But especially when it comes to my program, I noticed that the more successful people are the ones who are more mature mentally, um, that we're older and we've been through experiences, we've been through life, and it's a more mature mindset. The ones who are a little bit younger, they're more arrogant and thinking how things are. They haven't seen the world yet, or how things really are in the process. So they're still thinking of a unicorn celebrityism and Instagram and they're thinking of a total different mindset of success. Man, I'm just old enough to have worked these things. I've had, I have I lived an adventurous life, been through all this, the art things. And that's why I always say, like, once you've been burned enough or you have enough information, then it always makes sense. But the ones who haven't, they don't know until later on. Need to learn to struggle to appreciate. That's so true. That's yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's what I've noticed. Um, that's what I've noticed in my coaching, and that even comes with, yeah, with other businesses as well too. When it comes to mentally getting people, it's always more difficult with the youngers because they haven't gone through enough of a struggle, or they haven't. It's like it's a privilege to even think the way that they think about certain things, and it's like the ones who are successful are the ones who are more mature mentally, or you've been through enough of life circumstances. Let's see here. Thank you. And like Corbellic said, post the ones you don't like. Of course, the first sale is one I might have painted over in the past. Exactly. Okay, let's see here. Dave said, I've sold my first this week and it definitely wasn't my favorite. Exactly. But people don't know it when they're not in the game. They think that everything has to be a Mona Lisa. Could you imagine how exhausting that is as an artist, where everything has to be a Mona Lisa? It's exhausting. And then the thing is, I understand when you're in that mindset thinking that everything is a Mona Lisa that you create, or that you have to create everything that's great, then it doesn't become fun, and you're not allowed to tell people that either, that like you don't even enjoy it. A lot of artists in my program, they actually enjoy art again because they're free and they're not living up to these expectations of what things are supposed to be. I didn't start enjoying art again until I let go, until I gave myself permission. Like, it doesn't always have to be these grand Mona Lisa type of paintings. And let's see here. Cassandra says, I hear a lot about scammers on eBay who bid up your art and then they never pay because they weren't real buyers anyway. Is there any way to avoid these? I've never had that happen. I never had that happen. And I've sold so many paintings on there. I've done it for so many years. I've never had that happen. And especially now, because eBay has in there where people can't come in there, especially scammers, because they make sure that in order for people to even bid on your items, especially if it's a new account, they must lock in their credit card. It didn't used to be like that years ago. So that story that you're telling, it could have been like that years ago. So if somebody's telling you that story, it could have been something that they dealt with years ago. But nowadays, nah, eBay don't play that. eBay makes sure that people lock in their credit cards in order to even bid on your stuff. So if that happens, they would charge their credit card. So new accounts or accounts that might look fishy, they have to lock in their credit cards to even be able to bid on your stuff. That doesn't happen. Yeah, eBay's changed. Yeah. eBay's changed. They don't allow that. Now, when I first started doing eBay, it was like the wild, wild west. I used to have a lot of unpaid items. People might have changed their minds, But I haven't had that issue in years because eBay locked in on that problem and they protect the sellers now, which is a great thing. So you're really in it now at a great time when you're protected. So you could just create art. So I always say to myself, no matter how ugly the art is, it's going to get sold. And I always even say to myself, like I protect myself and I go, all right, if even if it gets sold at the least amount, I'm still going to be making the money off of it. Yeah, because they always get sold. And you're going to get to that point within your art store too, where all of your pieces are going to get sold. But that doesn't happen. Let's see here. I'm younger. I made 6,500 sales I've been doing for 3 months. I haven't been active in the community, but this has replaced 75% of my income. Thank you, Core. Oh, wow. That's amazing. That is amazing to hear. I'm younger. I've made $6,500 sales. I've been doing it for 3 months. I haven't been active in the community, but this has replaced 75% of my income. That is amazing to hear. I love that. If you're in the elite community, can you leave me a testimony on that? That would be awesome. That way other people can also see what that is possible. What's possible. They don't understand from the outside looking in. Those are the stories that I live for. Because that's what God told me to do when I was trying to be selfish and I was trying to hold all this information to myself. Because I was to be honest, I was upset with the art world and upset with how people traditionally sell art, and I didn't want to tell the secrets. And then it's only when after years it just said let it go. And once I did, I didn't want to show people that how I used the projector, all the information that I knew. So hearing stories like that is what I live for now. Those are the things that's what pays me now. It's not about the money. What pays me is hearing that now that it could be an inspiration and you can help other people in their life so that they can actually sell art instead of the old way of what they try to teach us. And the only way they teach us that way is because really they are gatekeepers and they want you broke. They don't want you in the game. They only want a few numbers that's actually in the game. They can't stand to hear when you actually are selling art. How do you feel about Etsy? Etsy's cool. I have a program. I have a program inside the elite community how to work with Etsy and how to cross list over there. So I'm telling you, just look. You could just join the elite community, check it out for a month. If it's not something that you're into, you don't like it, you don't find it valuable, then you can always check out. Hey, Muriel, it's good to see you. Happy that you're here. Like that's why I had the title of this video on the thumbnail. You don't have nothing to lose. I mean, this is the thing. The definition of insanity is to keep trying to do the same thing over and over and over. So it's like we've already done all the other ways. You don't have nothing to lose at this point. Try something different out. All that other stuff doesn't work. And there's too many people doing it that way. You could already see from so many people in the comments of where it works for them, or even people inside the program or where it works for them and people are making money, or a lot of people who couldn't sell art ever. I mean, what do you have to lose? A lot of times you have nothing to lose, you know it, but people is just really deep down inside, they don't want to do the work. They don't want to sell. They want to just, well, this other art teacher said that I could spend 20 hours on one painting and then a rich oil tycoon's going to come along and he's going to love my artwork and he's going to buy it for $10,000. Keep waiting for that. If that ever does happen with a miracle, then you could have already made that money by the time that it sells. I remember when I made my first $100 off of eBay, it was like making $1 million to me because I was just creating so much art and nothing was working. I was throwing everything at the board. But then when I actually seen that I was shipping art, it felt so good. At the time, I was only shipping out 3 boxes, 5 boxes or something like that. But once I seen that, it felt like I was shipping out 1 million boxes. It felt like well, not like the work of it. It just felt so good. I was so grateful. And looking back on it, I don't even know how much it could have. I gave away a lot of my gallery artwork because I had to build my store up. I gave a lot away of my gallery artwork away for low amount, some of it practically close to free. But I knew I was building up my name and I was building up my sales conversion, so I couldn't go, oh, I don't want to sell that artwork. I didn't matter to me. It was going to a house and it was going to somebody and I was building it up. And I was just so thankful that I could at least sell my art, that I could at least ship my art out. I wasn't thinking about the money, even though I was broke at the time and I knew I was going to get there, but it was better that at least, because I knew that I was having traction. At least I could get the money. As long as I know the customers are there. I was coming from a world where I was doing years of Instagram and I'm getting all these followers, but the money wasn't there and I wasn't building it up into a real business. Compared to with eBay, for example, right now I have over 3,000 followers. Now, the followers, those aren't even followers, those are real people because they're buyers. So instead of worrying about followers on your account on social media who don't buy anything, the buyer count is important on eBay because those are actual people who buy stuff. So even, for example, if I stop running promos or if I stopped even selling on eBay, those 3,000, I still have those in my Rolodex. I collected them. And that just meant a lot more to me. I just was remember, I just so thankful to God about the opportunity. But it's not, it's not for everybody. They want to make excuses of what and they want to make vanity art and make it all about themselves, then that's fine. I can't judge anybody on what your path is. I would never do that. I would never come out with a video and judge people on their art or what their art path is. I just know what my path was at that time, and and the things I talk about within myself or my journey. If you can relate to it, then that's cool. Then we're part of the same tribe if you relate to it. But what I won't do is tell somebody not to relate to somebody else's story or whatever their journey is. Like, no, that's not true. Only my way is the right way. I can't say that. Yeah, please leave the like button if you haven't already. Let me know that you're let me know that you're here. It really helps me out on the views. It pushes it out for eBay so that other people can also get this message. We could be saving lives out here. Because the thing is, like, you could work a job and your job only pays you a certain dollar amount. But this could be an opportunity for you. I don't care even if it's just like, this is the thing. This is the thing. If you have a job or whatever your story is, you could be in a situation where it's like an extra $500 a month will save your life. Now, an extra $500, you'll easily get there. You could get there. I have plenty of members who are getting there their first month, you know, and you'll easily get there where that's like nothing. As long as you focus in and you're building up your numbers and you'll know how to get there, you'll be buying off your gallery stuff or your buy it now store. But think about an extra $500 a month. An extra $500 a month in some people's lives can save their life, especially if you're on a fixed income or maybe you're working a full-time job. An extra $500 to some people who are arrogant enough and maybe they're privileged enough, they're like, no, that $500 isn't good enough. But if that's extra money to come into your pocket, especially during these times where artists are struggling, someone even wrote in the comments, to this person where they're like, but artists are struggling right now. And then the YouTuber even agreed, yeah, artists are struggling right now. How can you agree to that, but you're worried about how other people are making their money? $500, an extra $500 could save people's lives. Now, an extra $1,000, I mean, we already have people who are making that, even $5,000, and you could always build that up. These things, these prices, that right there could pay for a car note, an electricity bill. I think about things like that, and then you could build it up off of that. Good morning from Australia. Thanks for the awesome vids. No, thank you for being here, Jaded. Damn straight, everybody has a story. Pete Diamond says, saving lives for real. Believe it or not, you're saving mine. One day I'll tell you my story. Yeah, I would love to hear it, because, a piece by piece, I always tell my story, or a little bit. That's why, like, if you're here, I've been paying along with you this morning since 4 a.m. Hey, bro, hey, what's going on, Has World? What's going on, man? If you're here, you're meant to be here. That's why we're special, because I feel like God has brought us together. Some people go, I'm glad I found your channel. You didn't find my channel. I found you. We found each other. We're meant to be here at this point of time in our life, in this transition, to help each other. We're helping each other because God said for me to help people, and it's going to come back to me. The blessings will come back. And it's not even about money and monetary, because like I said, you can't find any video of me out saying to anybody out there, hey, this is the artwork that I created. Come buy my artwork. Hey, this is a art class. You never hear me say this is an art class. Come buy my program where I teach you how to do art. And it's nothing ever like that. Because what's the point of me teaching you how to do art if I'm not teaching you the business of how to sell the art? What's the purpose of it? Only thing you're going to be doing is knowing how to paint like me. And I don't want you to paint like me, because I always teach you that you're a genius already yourself, because we're all geniuses. We just learn different. I just try to, I instill the mindset of how you can find the genius that's inside of you and to bring it out, but the business side of how you could just sell it, because anybody can do it. All right, look at this one right here. This is cool. We have fun on that one. You see, it's like a Campbell soup stick figure thing. So I get real passionate. This is my real passion, is helping people. And it's not even about art as well, because I also coach people in business and their mindset about things, about how to be successful and how to have a frequency to have a half glass full perspective. So even with different businesses, I mean, you just know me on this level where we talk about art and the eBay, because the number's already there. But I have other where I transition to, I help people in their business and their mindset about other things that you might want to do in your life and how to go about it. These are my passion, is helping people. Let's see here. Let me read some of that extra that I got is great to me. I don't listen to other people money balances. I have Rev Ike on talking about money making money. Exactly. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I can never knock somebody's hustle or what their how to make the money. Oh no, you don't need to make no money right now. You need to sell your art piece for $1,000, $10,000, and you need to wait for the unicorn to come along one day, and then you sell it, and then you can tell people that's your ego. You know what I always used to tell people? Like, if you ever go to a gallery or an exhibit, and they have the price that's next to the artwork, or if they don't even have the price that's next to the artwork, and you ask them how much it is or something like that, usually the price that's on the artwork, that's to show off to other artists on Instagram or online or whoever that come there. That's to show off to other artists. My price, my artwork is this much. But you know what? At the end of the day, when the exhibit is over and the exhibition is over, they didn't sell any of that artwork. They might have sold it to one person, might have. That's if they're lucky. But most times they have to bring it back to their studio, and it's just a storage where hopefully somebody's going to, as long as they keep playing the Instagram game and posting, hopefully somebody's going to buy it. But you're waiting around. By that time, you still got bills due. And It's just unfortunate. It really is. And people are so stuck in that mindset. When I'm helping people make the money now, the money is there now, instead of you like, I'm waiting around for the paycheck and they need to say, yeah, I need to do it this way, because your ego is so involved. So you go to these art things and they usually on Instagram or whatever the video, they show the picture of their art. Then they do it next to the tag. Ooh, it's 10, 15,000. So you can show to other people, my work is that. How is your work worth that? I can't say that it's not worth that, because that's not one of my things that I preach about and talk about, especially when it comes to pricing. Pricing can be based off of what you want. But you could price at anything you want. That's why it's like when I make videos, right? And I could do any painting and I could say, this is a $2,000 painting. Sometimes I get these weirdos who come in and they're like, that's not a $2,000 painting. How can you say that it's not? I could draw look, I could do this right now without the projector. I could do this black. I got a wet black right here, right? It's wet. Look. Let me do it wet. I could do this right now. Right? And then a little bit of spray. This is a $16,000 painting. Who's to say that it's not? Then a little bit of blue. Back to the black. Who's to say that it's not? Boom, I'm done. I'm gonna write my signature on here. And then I could title this video if I want to. This is how I paint a $16,000 painting. You already are exposing yourself by you trying to come onto an artist channel and tell them what their art is and what it isn't, what the price point is and what it's not. This is a $16,000 painting. Now I can put this up into the eBay store and price it for $16,000. Will it sell? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not, but it's still up on there for that. And it still is that, because my perspective is that this is a $16,000 painting. This is a Rolex. This lets you know the standard of where your mindset is at, where you're at in your mind of your art. And that's fine. What I'm saying is that most people who create art like this in the galleries, they put this up and they can put $16,000 on the side of that art, but it's not going to end up getting sold, and you're still waiting around for someone to buy it, because then you're thinking that all of your art pieces is like that, and you're not having a variety of a choice where you could be making paychecks every single day because you want to have your ego involved with having stuff like that. Let me put a parchment paper on that. Let's see here. Jada Hunter says, agree. I have felt like it was meant for me to find you. Your advice has been very helpful with helping me out of my head and just relax. Let's see, here's in. At this point, I mind my business and keep it moving. I'm not coaching unless they're paying too much of my of mine. So true. Dave says, my mindset, let's see, sell galley and maybe make a sell or paint fast and free and unlimited potential. Yeah, eBay every time. Exactly. Facts. Simple, but it looks cool. Thank you. No, it's $18,000 painting. Exactly. All right, with the freestyle, I seen something out like that sell for 1 million. Yeah, of course. We all seen stuff like that. And that's the thing. And who am I to say to that person? Like, we've always seen the banana duct taped on a wall for 5, 10, 15 million. I would never say to that person, that ain't art. Even though we have our idea of what, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Like, I respect that. I respect that person who did the duct tape on the wall and they sold it for 5 million, 15 million. I respect them a hell of a lot more than I respect someone who took 20 hours or 20 days to do one drawing or one painting and then say, this is fine art. I don't respect that. Because we live in a world that's called we're a capitalist society. We are capitalists. We are in a capitalism. Money talks. You know what walks. I almost titled that this on this live video, like money talks, you know what walks. You know it walks. Like no one's trying to hear that other stuff because no one respects you when you broke at the end of the day and you don't have no money. The only thing that resonates out here is money. All that other stuff, who cares about it? What are you talking about? It must be a privilege for you to even be in that mindset to be like, money doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's not the painting that determines its worth. It's the artist who creates it. That's the truth, Tulio. And that's what I be talking about as well. As a lot of times people are not buying the art. They're not buying the painting. They're buying you. And a lot of times what people will respect and buy is if you're prolific. If they know that you're someone who you show up and you do volume. Like Zinzin and I, we were talking about Simon Bull. He's another great artist. Now, a lot of his stuff, he'll have like where paint fell on the ground and he'll take a canvas and he'll put the paint on top of what's splattered on the ground and it looks messy and he'll pick it up and he'll sell it and he'll sell for a lot of money. But then he'll have other pieces that look cool and he'll do like landscapes, or he'll have other ones that painting spin around and he'll splatter paint on it and he'll sell these things for $50,000, $20,000 to $50,000. People buy it because he's being prolific and he's showing up and he's doing the work. Now, if he was just an artist where he's just focusing on one painting at a time, then he wouldn't be prolific and people wouldn't be buying him. People are buying his work ethic and his confidence. Let's see here. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm okay. That's so true. I'm okay with people who want to spend a lot of time on a painting. I just don't think it's okay for someone to label that as fine art just because of the time they spend on it. That's true. That's what I'm saying too. And that's what I always say. I'm fine with people who do it because that's your time. That's your time. I'm just saying that I'm past that with my time because I've already had enough of life rob my time from me. And the only way for me to earn my time back is to get my time back. So if you want to do that and then that's your journey, I always tell that to people. I would never knock whatever your journey is. Maybe your journey's not ready for my philosophy yet of how I think about art, and that's fine. Whatever your journey is and how you like to create art, I would never knock it. I would never say that's dumb art or however you're doing it is the wrong way, because art is subjective. You know, if you want to do that, then that's your thing. Maybe it's meditation to you to spend 20 days on one painting. That's fine. But that's not my thing. That's not my thing because I want my time and I want the money. All right, let's get on to the next one. This one, we're going to do an abstract expressionism Superman. People love comic book art. I can't wait to celebrate and pay for brunch with my cousins. I'm so happy. That's such an amazing story to hear. I love that. I love hearing stuff like that because then that's when people celebrate you. Then that's when people are happy for you and they also know that it's possible. Now you're talking. Exactly. You always got to change it up. You always got to have different stuff. People love comic book fan art, and it's okay to do it. It's okay to do anything that you want to do. But this is the thing, it's like, especially if you're older, if you're an old dog like me, how much life already is like, are you trying to waste doing things on certain things? If you like to, I don't have any more of those years of wanting to sit down for one painting for 20 hours. And then the thing that makes me feel uneasy about it is like if I spend all this time, because what is time really when it comes to money? Money is time. It's money. How you get is usually equates, or especially when people think of like 9 to 5 jobs or salary jobs, it usually equates to how long that you worked with something. It's your time. So me working a certain amount of time and it's long or whatever, and I don't know if it's going to sell, or I don't know if it's going to sell until 3 months from now, 6 months from now. That's just not my bag anymore. I don't like that feeling. It's uneasy. It goes into that whole notion of broke, starving artist. Just like if I meet people, right? They don't need to know the whole details of how we would do business. I don't say I'm an artist because what are most people going to think? Oh, you're a starving artist. You're broke. I don't like that. So I don't. No, I work in marketing. I work in digital marketing. I work in e-commerce. You don't need to know more than that because that's what I do. That's what we do. We work in digital marketing. We're not starving broke artists. That way, people waiting around for paychecks. Well, yeah, I created this beautiful painting last year. I'm waiting for someone to come along and buy it from me. I just have to they haven't bought it yet because I didn't send out enough newsletters. They didn't I'm waiting for this magical collector to open up his email so he could buy this. I'm waiting any day now. He's going to open up his email and he's going to love this one. Copyright? No. I mean, as long as I make it different, I never have an issue. I mean, we're on eBay. We're not making t-shirts and selling millions of them, and we're not making the exact replica of it. I never have an issue with it. No one's trying to sue you or any of that stuff. But I always tell people too, like, a lot of people are, if you're ever worried, don't follow what I do. If you're ever worried, there's many things that you can paint, but so if you're worried about it or any kind of copyright issues or any of that stuff, you're worried about it and you have a lot of questions on it like that, just don't do it. Me, I've been doing this a long time and there's never an issue with it because we're selling on eBay. We're not selling millions of prints of Superman, and we're doing it in an abstraction way. We're still doing it. Like I said, when we use the projector, we're not doing the replicas of what the we're just using it as a tool for the reference. I never talk about doing the exact thing because then if we're doing the exact of something, then that's not fun. Then that's where I understand people where they're like, some people think that like because we create fast, well, they're not being creative. We never talk about that. I always talk about finding your happy mistakes by using the projector. Like right now, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going off the projector, and then later on it'll make sense. Let's see here. Zinzin wrote, I've been following people a lot. I've been following a lot of people and being in elite. I broke bread, money coming in. I made more than a year of the elite membership. So I have a return on my investment and it's only been 3 months. That's awesome to hear. Thank you. That's the purpose right there. That's the intention. How many other art channels or artists do you hear stuff like that where they've actually helped their followers or their watchers or anybody like that help them make money? You don't hear anything like that. They never talk about other people. All they talk about is themselves or their content creators. They say outdated stuff like join an art fair. Find an art fair in your city. What if you don't live in an art fair city? Like I'm fortunate enough where I live in LA and I had a studio in Tampa. But what if you don't live in Miami, New York, LA? Like, what if you live in middle America or whatever? What are you supposed to do? Just you're supposed to find wherever the art fair thing is, and then you're supposed to pack your bags and get a U-Haul truck. Like, okay, do you ever think about how, like, where do you get the money to do that from? The whole purpose of what I coach is that you can do this anywhere. Like even if you're in Australia, maybe you're in Britain, maybe you're in different parts of Europe. What are they supposed to do if they don't have art fairs in London, or I mean not London, but different parts of the UK or in Australia or in Spain or in different parts? What are you supposed to do then? They never talk about stuff like that. I mean, these are realistic questions. What are you supposed to do then for the way how people talk about selling art? You're like it's like these perfect scenarios all people always talk about. I always give the worst case scenarios because that's how I think about like my business. I always put myself in the okay, well, the worst case scenario, how many pieces of art do I have to create today to pay this bill? To be able to do this, to be in order to be to make and profit. What is the worst case scenario? I never think about the best case scenario. That way it helps me be able to just focus on the job and what I need to produce. And then it's easy for me to think of the best case scenario, if that makes sense. I'm able to think of the best case scenario by putting things into what do I need to do? What is the job at hand? As long as I do this, then that would happen. So anything past that is just icing on the cake. It's like overtime. Anything past that is all good. As long as I do this. Yeah, and that's the truth right there. Like art fairs have tons of overhead. It's a gamble for sure. Yeah, they have so much overhead. It's not even a gamble. It's like it's worse than a gamble. You could win more at a casino than you can at an art fair. I've done so many of them. You know who makes money at the art fairs? Is the people who run the art fairs. Zen wrote none. No, there's no other coach. That's why unless it's another class for 3,000 or 5,000. That's the truth. And a lot of people they sell these high ticket coaching things, and they're not even saying anything. They're saying like outdated stuff. The only people that make money off of those is these coaches, these gurus. That's why it's like in my earlier videos, I used to like really make fun of these gurus because that's why I did this. I just got so burnt out and tired of these gurus out here where they're not helping anybody. It's either about them, buy my art, or buy my paint class where you could paint like me. But it's like, all right, let's just say you do make some of these paintings or whatever. Then what? What are you supposed to do with them? How are you supposed to sell them? They never want to teach you how to sell them because their ego's in the way. If you learned how to sell like them, they get upset. You can't paint like me. I was just joking. I didn't think that you were going to actually do it. That's why I always tell people all the time, if there's a reference that you see from me or a painting that you see from me, paint it. I don't care because this doesn't belong to me. Be inspired. I give you permission to paint anything that I'm painting or that I'm doing. Let's see here, Jada Hunter. I'm not even sure if we have art fairs here in Australia. The closest thing like that around is where I'm from is a farm or a craft market. Exactly. So it's like what I talk about is that even if you're disabled or even if you're not able to leave the house or no matter where you're at, you can do eBay because it's global. You can have everything shipped to your house as far as the canvases, as far as your paint, and you can have it picked up from you. You don't need to go to art markets and you don't need to do all of that if you don't have to. And that's why I also say you don't have to have a social media and do all of that stuff either. So when people talk about like, and I read it, I see the stuff because I'm on here like, okay, if that's what they're saying, then what are their suggestions for people to make money or whatever? And I looked at the suggestions and I'm like, seriously, they couldn't even articulate themselves like they had a really thought out answer when people ask, like, well, okay, what are we supposed to do then? Well, you could do art fairs. Art fairs. Look what art fairs is in your area. And then when you're at the art fair, you pass out pieces of paper pamphlet, and then they're gonna go home. They're gonna take your piece of paper pamphlet, and they're gonna call you back. They're gonna ring you and say, "I want to buy that." No, they're not. Like, what world are you living in? That's so unrealistic. Where I even wonder, do you even sell art? Like, this is not even real. That's why people resonate to what I'm saying, because most of us already in the world, or we already did these things and we know how it really looks like. So when you're saying this stuff, it's like we're in 2026. Why are you talking like it's 2012 or 2010? What are you talking about? Well, they're like for for $1,000 more, I'll teach you more in the deeper course. You can, but they don't do well. They don't do well. You can only if you have like a following. Houseworld, would you sell print on demands on eBay? I I wouldn't for anyone. They don't do well, but I mean, you can, but they don't do well. And that's only if you like really built up a following. But yeah, they don't do well. And then you have to make sure that yeah, I wouldn't do it. It just depends, really. But like I said, I never try to tell people what their thing is, what you can and can't do. I don't want to be one of those people. No, the only way you could do art is if the way I teach you how. And then you come back and you be like, man, I just made $1 million off of this one thing that you told me not to do. And then I look like an idiot. It's just like anything else that I say, test the market. I think it's time to turn the light on this one. All right, let's see here. Clark Kent, come on. And then what I'll do on this one, just to make him more super. Great lighting, stop now. I'll stop when I want to stop. Let's see here. Let's put that, right? A little bit of that Superman badge on him, but abstraction, not too detailed. And then do this. Look at that. It always works out. It always works out. There we go. There we go. All right, now I'm done. I'll stop. Let's put our signature on there. Boom. And there we have it. Oh, let me do a little bit. Let me lighten up the eye a little bit. If that's okay. Boom. Look at that. Or let me do the hair just a little bit. And there we have it right there. I have epilepsy, so committing to big events to sell my art can be big of a gamble. If I have a seizure the day before, I end up missing out and selling at the event. eBay is perfect for me. Yeah, exactly. You know, there's just different circumstances. Look at that. Huh? Look at our painting right there. That's a different version of Clark Kent Superman. So look, I mean, you know, see how different it is. Nobody could be like, that's Superman. It's our version of Superman, right? And people will love this. All right, I'm going to do one more painting. I appreciate that. Thank you. See, I stopped when you told me to stop. I listened. Ugh. Yeah, exactly. He looks like a hero. See, that's how I like to look at different types of fan art or different things like that. It doesn't have to be exactly, and that's the idea people don't even get about us. They're like, they think that we're doing exact replicas of our reference when we're just using it as a tool. And then what comes out of you naturally comes out of you because we're all creators and it's always going to be different. Like, it's just a great tool to have for you to get started instead of you looking at a blank white canvas and then it's intimidating. Even for me, if I would just stare at a white canvas, you just have the tool there to get started. And then what comes out of you will come out of you. All right, let's do this. I'm gonna do a flower on the last one, and then we're gonna call it quits. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Let me know if you enjoyed this one. If there was some great information and knowledge that we dropped on this one. If you were able to pick up some information, if you didn't already put a like on this video, please leave me some likes, leave me some super chats down below to the bottom right with the dollar sign. You buy me a coffee, a little bit helps. Let me know that you appreciate just showing up today. We painted together. You probably painted more paintings than I have, but that's fine. I showed up, and I still painted more than these people out here saying that you need to spend 20 hours on a painting. We all have. If you're watching this right now, I know you painted more than these people saying that they went to art school and you need to do this many paintings to be great. And you're already a great person. You're phenomenal. Don't listen to what anyone else has to say. How many did I do so far? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. This is going to be the 12th one. Normally, I should have at least 21 or 22. But I'm getting used to doing this live streaming, talking at the same time, bringing up topics, and it's a little challenging. It's not as easy as you think. Thank you. Thank you. I'm still human, even though I've done so many paintings. I'm still human like you guys. Where when I get done with these live streams, I'm always like self conscious with myself. I'm always like, dang, I'm not doing good enough paintings. Usually, I paint better if I'm alone. Oh, today I did a bad painting, or even I'd be thinking in my mind like, oh, the topics that I talked about weren't good. These are all human things, and I still go through it myself. And that's why I'm being transparent with you and vulnerable in these moments where it's like, even though I've done so many paintings and with the business sense, I try to keep everything open with you because you're always open with me. You're always real with me. So that's what really helps us is the being real about it. All right, let's do this. All right, on this one, since it's a flower, I'm not gonna. I want this one to be a little bit abstraction. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do that same effect, right? But I'm just going to do like some pastels, right? And you see how I'm going about it, like with this green is kind of like our foliage, and there's no rhyme or reason because we know we're going to paint on top of it, but it's just adding to the to the effect. You got me inspired. I'm painting now. That's awesome, Pete. I love to hear that. What I love to hear about people feeling inspired to paint is that I never say to you, you paint like this or paint like that. Is that you're already an artist, but society and these gurus or these channels and art classes crap, they try to convince us that we're not already artists or we're not great already, or like we have to we have to remember how to do art or something. And it's just not true. It's already there. I can't teach you how to do this. You already know how to do it. And the more that people believe that you need training or you don't know how to do it, it's kind of like you're asking for permission and you won't be great anyways because you're forgetting your superpowers. So think about the last painting that we did. We're all superheroes, and they're trying to have you forget your superpowers. You have superpowers. You're a superhero. Like, you don't need to ask me how to utilize your superpowers and how to utilize the your your superhuman strength. You already have it. Like, what are you asking me permission to use your superhero strengths for? You already have it. It's already there. Never ask anyone permission to be a superhero. Well, no, you're only a superhero if you did it for 20 hours. All right, so you can see how I did that, right? Where it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just added like different effects on there, right? From the pastel. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint over it. And it doesn't matter even if I paint over most of this or whatever, we just still have it there in the background that it was there. So that way it adds to the effect. What I'm also going to do is take a black pastel and do some squiggles. Let's see here. Where's it at? Oh, I'll just use this one. Like just some markings. All right, now let's go into, now I'm going to do the sketch of the dark areas. So this is our vase. Let's see here. I don't know what I'm doing. Do this area like that. Like this is supposed to just be our abstract flowers. I like doing abstract flowers. I mean, there's a lot of members who know how to make some really beautiful flowers, and I'm always like, that's so cool. Yeah, I'm just doing the abstract flowers. That's why I'm here. You are real and not fake. I appreciate that. You rock, dude. You should never doubt yourself. Oh, we're human. We're human. But it's just important not to to not listen to the doubt. Just know that it's just an illusion. The doubt is never going to stop. It's always going to be there. It's just you just have to have a muscle where you don't listen to it. It's kind of like, I know it's you're playing tricks on me. You're trying to have me stop. You're trying to have me stop from seeking greatness. And I won't let you. Let's get some green in here. I think tomorrow, maybe tomorrow after tomorrow's stream, I have to change out this palette. I think it's around that time. telling you, after I do these streams, I'll be mentally zonked. I'll be ready for a power nap. Reading the comments. All right, there we go. Now it's working. I do like watching your work. I always get loads of inspiration. Do you find there is a particular size of artwork that people prefer? The more I work hard, the more time wasting friends I lose. Yeah, man. Let's see. The more I work hard, the more time wasting friends I. Do you ever have some people in your life who they do love you, but then it's like if you're working on your business, you're working on art, and they might say things like, "Are you done yet? Are you still working? Are you still doing?" And then you feel guilty about, "Oh, I'm coming home, honey. Okay, I'm coming home. Let me come home so I can sit and watch Netflix." Or you ever have your mother call you or something and be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" At work. Sometimes it's crazy. When I first started doing when I really started taking my schedule serious, I would have people who didn't respect the boundaries of that. I'm working. They would think just because you work for yourself that you just have free time. We're just chilling. We're just chilling all the time. Like, I got free time. I'm just eating, bonbons when I want to. I'm at the beach. I'm hanging out. They always think like, "Oh, well, you work for yourself. You have plenty of time." And you have to start setting boundaries for yourself if you want it to be. That's another thing. You have to start setting boundaries for yourself if you want to be successful, that people understand your time is your time of when you work. Do you want the bills paid or do you want to watch Netflix? It gets to those points where you're building yourself up. There's an entrepreneur, he said that, work-life balance is a myth. Especially when you're building your brand up and when you're building yourself up, you can get to that point of buying out of earning your, that's a better way of saying, earning your freedom. You can earn your freedom through the hard work. But starting off, a lot of people, it's hard. It's easier for people to work for other employers or to show up to work like that because we've been conditioned to work for other people, and it's easy to show up to work like that. But it's hard at times to show up to work for yourself because you need to have so much more discipline to work for yourself. That's why I always say that it's easier. Like I've hired myself and I fire myself because I was coming from corporate America mindset for so long where it was hard for me to start off having the discipline of being my own boss. Tim Grover said that, yeah. Yes, Tim Grover said that, but also I think it was I can't even think who it is. Who's the Shark Tank guy? Or no, not Shark Tank, but no, not him, not Mark Cuban. Now I can't even think. But yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs actually said that, when you're starting your business off, there is no work-life balance. That's just you trying to not to do the work. It's actually harder. But is it something that you want? Some people want the fame, and some people want the money, or they actually want to do it. I used to say that for years ago. There's two different types of people. There's people who actually really do it, who do the work, and there's some people who just want to look like they do the work and they want the notoriety or the title of doing certain things. The most successful students that I have are the ones who put the work in and they do the program. I had a mentor tell me recently, don't get down on yourself about certain people who don't do well with either whatever your program is or certain aspects of it, because then you already done your work, you already done your job, and it's up to them of how they do the program. Some people will sign up to a program thinking that that's their dopamine, is that they did that they signed up to it. But now comes the part where you actually have to do the work, and you can't control that part. So the great analogy that my mentor told me, he says that it's just like if you download an app on your phone that's Duolingo to learn French, but you're not working the program to learn French and you're not actually going through the process. Instead, some people get a dopamine by just, I downloaded a smart app. I downloaded an app that's going to help me save finances, that's going to help me speak French. But if you don't actually work it, like imagine downloading an app on your phone so that you can be a fitness app. But if you're not actually going to the gym, or if you're not actually working out, you can't go to the CEO of the app and say, well, the app's not working. You have to still work it. Then the hard part comes where you have to put in the work. And can't get down on yourself for the ones who don't put the work in to learn French, because you've already done the work by creating the app, the Duolingo app, for them to learn French, or the fitness app for them to lose weight. But if they don't lose weight, they can't say, well, I'm not losing weight. What's going on? Sometimes people feel good. The dopamine enough is just, I downloaded the fitness app. Isn't that good enough? Jaded Hunter says, the subtle art of not giving an F is a great mindset to be in. I do my best work when I'm in this mindset. That's the truth. That's the mindset that I put myself in. I love that book. It's a great book. It's a great attitude to have, because that book teaches that you can't really control it, and you have more control and great things happen the more that you don't try to control it, and it's whatever. And you feel better too. You're going to feel better about your art. I'm proud of myself for getting 10 paintings done during your live. I didn't have references or a projector, but I copied yours as I painted. Thanks for your inspiration. No, thank you for being here. That really means a lot to me. See, comments like that makes my day afterwards to hear that. That's amazing. It's great news to hear. Comments like that make my day. And I hear that a lot too. Like when I started doing the live streams, I did not have that intention that people were going to paint along with me and how it was going to affect them. But I'm hearing that a lot, that people paint along with me, and it's been helping them work faster, but also understand more about like certain techniques that I do. And it's been helping a lot of people. And that is so cool, because I didn't have that intention at all. How do you work so hard and find time to eat clean and gym? Well, the way how is I meal prep on the weekends, and I go to the gym before I start work. And then sometimes I even go to the gym again after work just to get on the treadmill and just put some headphones on, catch up to some of my podcast kind of YouTube channels, or news, and I'll do that, you know. In the morning times, usually what I do is I'll try to get like a quick 20 to 30 minutes in of like lifting, or I'm old, so not too heavy, but at least I'm lifting and I'm just showing up. I'll do 20, 30 minutes of that, and then I'll go home, get my breakfast ready, or it's already ready, and then I'll come to the studio. Or what I also will do is I'll go hiking in the morning before I even come to the office. I'll go on a hiking trail. That's the cool thing about California. We have hiking trails, so it's not like me climbing a mountain or anything. It's just like they have like actual park, like a hiking trail up the mountain and then down a mountain. That only takes like an hour. I'll do that. Then after that, I'll come to the studio, work, do emails, work the community. Afterwards, maybe edit a video or anything like that. Then I'll probably go to a gym or whatever. But I have meal preps where I'll prep my own meals. I'll cook on the weekends. My mom came home and was like, "Oh my God, I had multiple paintings in the house." Then I reorganized, and my friend was like, "Oh, that's a lot of paintings." I'm like, "That's a new set." That's awesome. Exactly. They're surprised. She's like, "What's going on?" Yeah, see, people are going to treat you serious once you treat yourself serious. And then after a while, you'll be able to notice who sincerely wants you to succeed or doesn't, or if they're more just, sometimes people in our lives, they're comfortable you being the simple you. Like they're used to you being the old you and then you being the new you. That can be the old you makes them comfortable. If you being the new you it'll scare off a lot of people in your circle, and it'll intimidate people. And a lot of times, that's really when we talk about self-sabotage. People self-sabotage themselves, and they don't want to be successful because they don't want to intimidate their family, and they don't want to like throw it off to be like, you're changing, or if you change, that you might have a dynamic of, it's intimidating to the people around you, and and a lot of people don't want to do it. They don't want to scare off their family and friends to be like, "Oh, I don't." It's real. It's a psychological thing. What I'm saying, but nobody talks about it. Oh, this flower is beautiful. I love it. All right, let me throw the lights on now. But you could just see on this flower, right? Like you see how we started off, and I was using the oil pastel. And it's like you really can't see it with the naked eye, but when you're on here, you can see the layers and it's underneath of it. And when the buyer sees it, it's like it gives it this artistic whole look, like you're just like a genius artist. And how did you do it? How did you come up with those? It makes it seem like it's planned. And we don't know what we're doing. Only thing it just did is just add layers to it, but the pastel underneath. Anybody can do that. But like with the first of the year, I really had to even go back to the gym and stuff like that, because during the holidays, when it was like Thanksgiving and then Christmas back to back, I eat a little bit more. I gained a little bit weight, and I just, if more than anything, this was like I had to get back to on the health grind. If anything, that's what really inspired me for the first of the year. So it's like I walk a lot. I feel like I gained weight again. So I'm kind of a fat ass right now. But that was a good question. And that is that. Huh? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Boom. I could always keep playing around with this stuff, right? Like I said, we could always keep going and going and going because paint is never over with. So it's like when people are, oh, it needs to take 10 hours. It needs to take 40 hours. It's never over with. You could always keep working it. Boom. There we have it right there. Let's put our signature on it. All right. Not bad. Not bad at all. Look at that. There we go right there. That's our last painting of the day right there. There's our expressionism, abstract, colorful flowers right there with the pastel that's also in it. Look, if I can do these paintings, then you can do it. I mean, you can especially do it because this whole time I'm talking, I'm in a different mindset. I'm not really focused on the job at hand, but I am focused on the job at hand too. And we're having a great time here. I'm painting, you're painting. We're all being productive. We're here for each other. I'm giving you support. You're giving me support. So I appreciate everybody showing up. I'm also going to be doing a live stream again tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Leave likes if you haven't already on here, seeing if there's any comments on here that I didn't catch up to. All right, rocking and rolling. And that's going to be it. So I'm going to get some lunch right now, catch up to some emails, see if there's some comments going on. I appreciate you guys again. Let me water down the paint. This is how I water the paint down. Boom, 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 bang, bang, bang. Look at that right there. And if you're not already a member to the elite program, to the coaching, so you can see how you can do this for yourself, click the link below or click the link that's in the comments right now so you can see how you can do this for yourself. Everything is mapped out for you. We have the templates there. We have the community to get you started. We have a 14-day sales activity. So that way you can have the whole step-by-step, how to set up your account, how to get the sales and how to get the listings going. There's no guessing game. Everything is mapped out for you. We are there. We have a Q&A meeting that's every Sunday. So that way you can ask me any kind of personal questions on there and everything is there for you. We have the best community in there. So I appreciate you again. I'm going to see you tomorrow. All right.